What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is a story where Issei was betrayed and was the reincarnation of Zalgo. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now, let's get into part 2. Previously we saw Issei head to the training camp alongside Asia, where Rias demanded him to wait. At first Issei ignored, but when she threatened him further, Issei put her in the ground. Despite this she asked Kaneko to follow him, which she did, however this was discovered, and she was knocked out on sight. They then meet up with the rest of the group and enter Lavender Town, where they head towards the cemetery. As they proceed upwards, they hear a singing. This was immediately figured out to be Hypno's doing. As they headed further up, they recognized him and told them about their situation. However, Hypno needed further proof, so he decided to take a test. He hypnotized the young descendant. Issei fell for his hypnosis. As he did, he saw the first vision, where he noticed that this was the first time he was being abused by his own parents. Thanks to the girls, Kadis and Murayama, he saw his sister watching him. However, this was pointless. He eventually got angry enough to repel them away, passing the first test. The next one was at his school, where the girls that ruined his life were present. They tried to harass him again. Needless to say, Issei kills both of them one by one, and it is also revealed they are cowardly in nature. Issei is then congratulated on passing the test, and he is then taken back to his world, where Hypno agrees to join him. The group then head down the cemetery, where they hear a Pokemon crying. However, before anyone could say anything, the Pokemon center from where the crying came from had suddenly exploded. The group rushed to see what had happened. When they entered the Pokemon Center, they saw that the nurse had killed herself, and the machine exploded. It was revealed that several Pokemon had died. As Hypno grieves over the death of the Pokemon lost, they hear an unfamiliar voice. As they saw what seems to be a blackened color Jigglypuff, it seemed to be crying. As Hypno asked him what happened, he explained this was Ie's doing. It killed everyone present in the Pokemon Center and escaped when it had done its job. Issei pitied the poor Pokemon as it had now nowhere to go. Asia then suggested to adopt him, which surprised the group, as she first mistook the gender. As it was revealed the Jigglypuff, or now called Purin, was considered to be a girl. As Hypno searched for Pokeball, he then gave it to Asia, allowing her to catch Purin. It immediately joined the group, as Hypno waved their goodbyes to the rest of the group, and they entered back in the portal heading home. As they did, Asia kept the Pokeball inside of her satchel and headed back, where they were confronted by a very angry Rias. Rias demanded Issei listen to her, which did not end well for her. As Issei and Asia left the room, Rias promised to take revenge on Issei for his insubordination. One day before the raiding game. GREMORY Farmhouse, 9:30 p.m. Issei sighed. Things have been annoying for him, with especially Rainer and Rias pestering him every single day. Rainer was the worst, which did surprise him, but it infuriated him. Rainer had nearly killed Asia during her training section of her time. Needless to say, Issei made sure to instill fear in her. Issei almost crippled and nearly killed her, however he was stopped by Asia before he could do the deed. Issei thanked her, since this would have exposed more of his power to the rest of the devils, something he did not want to risk. Additionally, him killing her would alert Rias and possibly her older brother Surziches, something he did not want to risk, hence he spared the former fallen angel. He could not risk the lives of himself, Asia or the rest of his friends. He hated tolerating Rias, but he believed that the payoff would come off one day. Issei. Well, that has been an eventful week. Greg spoke from the boosted gear. As he pitied his host, he feared that he would have gone into his Juggernaut drive, and he was unsure whether he could be stopped unless Great Redaroff stepped in. Greg. That's true, partner. Issei. Yeah, Rainer has been getting on my nerves. I can't believe I loved her at some point. Issei kept his hand in his head. He was really getting annoyed by her actions. It took him almost everything to stop himself from finishing what he had started in the church. As he was in his own world, an uninvited guest shows up at his room. Issei. Phoenix. The person was revealed to be Riser Phoenix, as he exclaimed. Riser. Wasp. Issei, my homie. How are you doing? Riser raised his hand as Issei watched in complete surprise. Even Drake and Zalgo were surprised as Issei spoke. Issei. Huh? Issei was still dumbfounded by the way Riser just spoke as Issei spoke. Issei. Riser. What happened? Riser. Riser tried to speak in the way modern humans tried to speak. Did you not like it? Issei, who had his mouth open, narrowed his eyes and made a huge sigh as he spoke with a sly and amused smile. Issei. Riser, that is not how you speak in the human world. Riser. Huh. But Riser saw people speaking this way. Riser exclaimed in surprise as Issei chuckled. He then spoke. Issei. Just speak the way you are, that's fine by me. Scene change. Riser embarrassingly took a seat near a chair as Issei then spoke. Issei. So aside from that, what brought you here, Riser? Riser took a while as he spoke in a serious tone. Riser. When we first met, Riser noticed one thing. Well, Riser was happy seeing you. Riser noticed your disdain towards your master. It was obvious by your tone that you had some grievances against her. Riser initially assumed that you two must have fought, given that your relationship was less than pleasant. Issei intently listened as Riser continued. He was close to figuring it out. Riser. Then Riser noticed that it is not just her you were hostile towards. This included the low-class Rook Kaneko and the low-class Queen Akeno as well. It was obvious by the way that Rook insulted us. Just by that fact, Riser deduced that you had intense dislike towards the three aforementioned girls. So Issei, tell Riser what happened. What happened between you and your master's peerage such that you had this dislike? Riser intently looked at Issei. Issei then thought. Issei. He is close to figuring out the truth. I wonder whether I should tell him or not. Zalgo. I think you should. Issei. Why? Zalgo. He can be trusted. I have seen many devils that are extremely prideful, but the man in front of you is smart, he is perceptive, he figured out most of the story. I think you should tell him. Issei. Alright then. Issei looked at him as Riser nodded his head sideways and spoke. Riser. Issei, Riser is your friend, you can trust Riser, please tell Riser, cause Riser can help you. Issei sighs and speaks. Issei. Fine, here goes. Issei told everything about his time from his reincarnation to Rainer killing him out of her reason to please her superiors, Ria's knowing this and saving him so that he becomes eternally loyal to her, Asia getting killed by Rainer for her sacred gear, from Ria's getting exposed for everything for her crimes. Riser listened intently, as he was calm, he was seething inside, he would love to tear Ria's apart right now for what she had done. He then spoke. Riser. So what will you do now? Issei. Well, I was planning to go unconscious for the rating game at first, causing her to lose, but then that would force her to marry you, and you already love Eubelina, right? Riser nods. The only reason he is marrying her is because of his family. Now he does not even want to marry Ria's anymore. However, Riser had an idea. Riser. Issei, can your dragon record and display your memories? Before Issei could respond, Drake responded from the boosted gear. Drake. Yeah, but why do you need it, Phoenix? Riser had a grin as he spoke. Riser. Riser has a plan. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei trying to create a wormhole to Monster Girl Encyclopedia World to get some monster girls. The Cult Research Club, 5 AM. Rias. Alright, is everyone ready? Rias exclaimed as many were confident that they would win the fight since they believed that they trained hard. Everyone minus Issei. Yeah. Issei. Heh. Fools. Issei thought in amusement. Asia was with the student council, given that she was a spectator, they were also being watched by the Phoenix family, as well as the GREMORY family. Along with Surzich's Lucifer himself, this was something Grafia had informed the orc prior to this. Issei. So her brother is also watching, this may be a problem. Issei thought with a sigh, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. I believe that this may pose a problem to Riser's plan. Either way we need to execute this. Issei mentally nods as he sits on a couch. After a while, Rias gives the signal that they are ready for the rating game. Grafia teleports the group to the rating game area. Scene change. Issei and the rest of the Occult Research Club get teleported to the rating game arena. This surprised Issei as he noticed the surroundings to be the exact same as before. He then noticed that it had a different magic space. Zalgo. That's because you are in an artificial dimension created for this rating game, Issei. Zalgo communicated towards Issei, who nods as Rias starts the plan for the rating game. Rias. Alright everyone, here is the plan. Akeno, Kaneko, I want you to create traps towards the club building's forest. Kiba, give me a club map. The trio mentioned leave as Kiba brings in the map. Kiba. Here you go. Kiba drops the map as Rias gives each of the group a communication circle, including Issei. Issei planned to corrupt this, allowing Rias and the others to only tell Rias what he wants to. Riser had given his communication circle as he left so that Riser can inform him when he gets out to fight. Riser had told him to pretend to fight for Rias for this duration. Rias. Kaneko, Issei, I want you to go and. Issei. Sorry, but I will pass. Issei took the bed and lied down. He could care less what happens. He was not going to follow her, as he knew that without her she was gonna horribly lose, but Zalgo spoke telepathically. Zalgo. Issei, you know her brother is also watching you. And. Issei. Fine. I will play along. Issei got up and responded. Issei. So GREMORY, what do you want? Rias, Rainer and the others who knew Issei's animosity towards his master knew that something was off as the spectators spoke. Scene change. Asia. I assumed Issei would refuse her order or something. Sona. As much as I want him to, knowing him there has to be a reason. Sona spoke while rubbing her chin as Tsubaki spoke. Tsubaki. I think I have an idea. The two turned to Tsubaki, who spoke. Tsubaki. You know that Satan Lucifer is watching, right? Sona and Asia knew, as it clicked in Sona, needless to say, she lost further respect for Riaz. She angrily glared at the woman, having an idea of what exactly she did. Tsubaki. It seems like you figured it out, right, President? Sona. Indeed, I know why Issei is following her. It is because he does not want to be on her brother's bad side, hence he is following her. He is aware that he is being watched by him, and if he plays one wrong move, then this has a chance of triggering a war against the devils and demons, something Issei will not risk. Sona knew Issei now. At this point, every single rumor of him was a lie, especially the sexually assaulting ones. He was not even a pervert, unlike the perverted duo who were his friends. She called him every single day, since she liked to talk to him, much to the anger and hatred of her peerage minus a select few, who now started to have faith in him. Asia was furious on hearing her deduction. Her aura flared as her hair caught on fire. Sona then spoke. Sona. Asia, please, calm down, it's not worth it. I believe Issei has a plan. He was not going to let Riaz win. Sona requested Asia, who reluctantly calmed down. As she watched, she knew that Sona was right. Scene change. Riaz saw this, even she understood that her brother is watching, hence she had a smirk. She can control him, as long as her brother is watching this. Issei then spoke, annoyed. Issei. So are you going to tell me the plan or not? Do you want to win this? Riaz lost her smirk and snarled. Riaz. I would watch your tone, or else. Issei. Or else what? This game is the reason why you don't want to marry Rizer. Be sensible for once. Riaz lost her smirk and glared at him. He was not dealing with her nonsense. Issei was right. She knew that if she needed to get Rizer out of her life, as Issei thought. Issei. I hope you know what you are doing, Rizer. If I need to get his favor, I need to let him win this fight. That's the only way that I can put you down, for good. Issei wondered what Rizer's intentions are, but then again, he trusted him. He knew what he was doing. The whole plan was to play along till he would meet her brother and hope for the best. Riaz. Since you want to know so badly, I want you and Kaneko to head to the gym and take that place. As long as we cut down any strategic places, we can win this. Issei nods as he heads to the location alongside Kaneko. Riaz. Akeno blow up the gym once Issei and Kaneko are done with their fight. Akeno. As you wish, President. Scene change. Issei and Kaneko head to the gym as planned. Issei then spoke. Issei. Let's get this over with. Kaneko nods as Issei speaks. Issei. Alright, I know you guys are here, so let's just get this over with. The three people come out, that being Isle and Nell, the twin pawns, and Mira, the staff-wielding pawn, as Issei spoke. Issei. So you are my opponents, huh? Issei grins as he cracks his knuckles. Isle. So this is the friend of Rizer. Lee. Nah, Isle, let's see how strong is he. Issei. Fine, show me what you got. Let me see if you are worthy for his affection. Issei taunted the girls as they charged at him due to anger. With their chainsaws, Issei easily dodged them and grabbed the girls by their wrists as he slammed them to the ground, making them groan in pain. Issei then saw an oncoming pole courtesy of Mira as he grabbed it and punched it, breaking it, surprising her. He then followed it with a roundhouse kick that sent her flying up and a double-fisted slam to the ground as she groaned in pain. Kaneko was shocked by this. Issei dismantled them in less than a minute as they groaned in pain. They then heard from Riaz. Riaz. You can now leave, let Akeno blast them and take them out. Issei. Fine, GREMORY. Issei then turned to Kaneko as he spoke. Issei. Let's leave. Kaneko nodded, still speechless by what happened. As they walked away, after a while the gym exploded, and this was revealed to be Akeno, who licked her lips in response. She unleashed a barrage of lightning blast, triggering an explosion. Grafia then announced from the rating game system. Grafia. Rizer Phoenix's 3 pawns have been eliminated. Issei. Alright, that's done. And. Kaneko. How? Issei. Huh? Issei asked, confused as Kaneko spoke. Kaneko. How could a weak pervert like you defeat those 3 with ease? Issei was not shocked. He was already used to her calling this, but before he could respond, an explosion took place as he spoke. Issei. What the? When the dust settled, Kaneko came out of the dust, her clothing half torn, revealing her chest partially. She was bruised on her face and parts where she was injured. Issei tried to look up to see who the cause of the attacker was, and this was revealed to be Ubulina. Ubulina. Rizer told me to go easy on him. Since he is a good friend. And I shall comply. Ubulina thought, as she did not exactly saw him as an enemy, since Rizer was a friend, but she did not ask him. Perhaps she will ask him soon, when they visit him later in his house. Ubulina then spoke. Ubulina. Lord Rizer has asked me to go easy on you. Ibulina aimed another explosion, as Issei had gotten ready to fight. He did not want to hurt her either, since her and Riser were extremely close, but the circumstances forced them to fight. Issei. So how did the two of you meet? Issei asked with a grin, with Ibulina blushing, as she spoke. Ibulina. Can you ask this later? Please. Issei's grin changed into that similar of a Cheshire Cat's grin, as he spoke. Issei. Fine. Fill me in later. He then saw Kaneko's light shining, as Grafia announced. Grafia. The rook of Ria's Gremory has been eliminated. Issei could care less on what happens to Kaneko, as he looked towards Ibulina, who decided to charge a weak explosion to only eliminate him. However, before she could do, a lightning attack had struck Ibulina, who easily dodged the attack. Bakeno. Issei, as much as you hate me, we are teammates, and I want to win for Ria's, as much as you don't want to fight for her. You are a trump card, you must leave. Issei looked at her for a while, and left saying. Issei. Fine. Issei left the arena, leaving Akeno to face off against Ibulina, as she spoke. Ibulina. It's finally a pleasure to meet you, Lightning Priestess, so shall we begin? Akeno responded with a smile. Akeno. As you desire, Bomb Queen. Akeno chuckled in a sadistic manner, she was definitely gonna enjoy this. Scene change. Issei walked across, he had heard the announcement of 3 other pawns being eliminated, understanding this was Kiba's doing. That is when Issei heard Riser's voice from his other ear, the ear that was free from Ria's communicator. He made sure to corrupt it so that she could not hear Riser speaking to him. Issei. Yeah. Riser. Look for me, soon. Riser cannot talk much since Riser am being watched. Issei grinned and spoke. Issei. Very well, make it dramatic. Issei understood that Riser was going to make an appearance very soon, as he then caught up with Kiba, as Issei asked. Issei. I take it that was your doing. Issei pointed to the elimination, as Kiba nods, he then hears it from Rias. Rias. Issei, Kiba, head to the principal's building, I have decided to come out and face Riser alongside Rainer. Kiba. But will this work, he is much stronger than you. Rias. Akeno is facing off against Ibulina right now, he would be all alone, I can take him out, with Rainer's help, light spears are effective against devils. Issei. This fool. Issei thinks with a sigh, he knows that she is severely outclassed, yet here she is thinking that she would be able to take Riser down. Issei. So what do you want us to do? Rias. I want the two of you to deal or stall with the rest of the pieces, till Riser is out of commission. Issei. Alright then. The communication circle dissipates, and he sees Kiba, as they both head towards the principal's building. They were surrounded by the rest of the peerage that belongs to Riser, his 2 knights, his remaining pawns and his 2 bishops. That is when he noticed Akeno falling from the sky, as a bright green light emanated from around her as Grafia announced. Grafia. Queen of Ria's Gremory, has been eliminated. Issei. Well, what now? Kiba. Issei, look. Kiba pointed Issei to the top where he saw Rias and Rainer sneaking in, only for them to be confronted by Riser himself. Riser. Welcome, Rias. Riser exclaimed in happiness, although he now had disgust towards her, but he needed to win this one, for his family's pride, and for his plan to work. Scene change. Flashback. Issei. So you are telling me to fight? Riser. Yes. Issei. Not gonna happen, you don't deserve someone like her. I know you love Ibulina, Rias belongs to the streets. Issei was reluctant on accepting this, but Riser had an idea to convince him. Riser. Now hear Riser out, this will get you to talk with Surzich's Lucifer, who is her older brother. Issei. Okay. And? Riser. It is simple, if you win or lose, you will get what you want, if you guys win, you can ask him for something in return, but if you lose, this will cause me to marry her. Issei. See. Riser. Riser hasn't finished yet, Issei. Riser exclaimed, as Issei spoke. Issei. Sorry buddy. Riser. No harm done, anyway, if you lose, Lucifer will do anything to get her sister out of this marriage, and I mean anything. Issei. Okay. Riser. And that's it, that's all you need to do, save his sister, and you can ask Lucifer for anything, an audience, a girlfriend, or even billions of yen, you can count on it, and he will give you that. No matter what the outcome, it is a win-win for you, and a loss for Rias. Issei understood what Riser was trying to say, he had a smile, as he spoke. Issei. So you want me to win or lose? Riser. Riser would suggest lose, then the chances are much higher. Issei. Alright then. Riser. Well, Riser needs to go and prepare, all the best, and don't expect an easy fight, I won't go easy on you. Issei. I would not expect otherwise. Both shake hands, after which Riser teleports back to the underworld as he speaks. Issei. I am glad he hid his presence, or this would have been a problem. Flashback ends. Scene change. Issei. After that Riser told me that he would figure out something for our confrontation. And Riser was pressuring against Ria's, even Rainer's holy light spears were ineffective against him. Almost all of Riser's team minus Youkai had been eliminated by Kiba and Issei with a well-timed combo attack. Issei jumped up to the roof using his wings. As he did, he came in front of Rias and Rainer before turning his attention to Rainer and taunting her. Issei. Well, if it isn't the superior fallen crow on the ground, pathetic and helpless, you not only weak, but also pathetic, you couldn't even land a hit on Riser, you really are all talk and no bite, you're trash. Rainer gritted her teeth as Issei spoke. Issei. Oh look at Fallen Jr., gonna cry. Issei spoke with a smug smile. Rainer wanted to throw a spear, however Rias stopped her as Issei spoke. Issei. Seems like I will take care of this. So what do you say, master? Rias gritted her teeth as Issei snarled towards her. She then spoke. Rias. Fine. Do whatever you want to do. Issei. That's more like it. Youkai came aside Riser and spoke. Youkai. So want me to take care of him? Riser. No, Riser will deal with him, himself. Riser came forward as Issei approached forward, both having grins on their faces, friends that will fight in order to decide who wins the match. Riser. You ready, Issei? Issei. Whenever you are. Both charged at each other. Issei fired multiple dragon shots as Riser responded with a flame wall. He then unleashed his phoenix wings and created a sword made of flames to strike Issei. The flames exploded on contact as Issei took a direct hit. When the dust settled, Issei had a grin on his fist and had chaos energy emanating from his arms. Issei. Not bad Riser, not bad. Riser. I had a feeling you would be able to handle that. Now let's turn the heat up. Riser unleashed a storm of flames towards Issei, who responded by dodging the attack with ease. Issei jumped up and focused chaos energy in his palms and unleashed a ball of chaos energy that Riser flew using his wings. The ball exploded, triggering a deep hole on the principal building, taking off a chunk of the building with ease. Riser charged towards as Issei blocked him with his bare hands. He then grabbed him and swung him flying towards a distance. Riser managed to regain his footing as he flew, unleashing another heat wave towards Issei, who used a shield made of pyrokinesis to block himself from being burnt. Rias and Rainer however were not lucky as they screamed in pain due to the flames. Rainer couldn't take it anymore as she enveloped and got eliminated. Raphia. Bishop of Rias GREMORY has been eliminated. Rias, Kiba and Issei were the only ones remaining, with the latter fighting against Riser himself. Kiba wanted to be eliminated himself, he could only watch as the match goes on. Rias was helpless, with Issei being her only hope, but he had stopped listening to her ever since the truth came out. She cursed the day when Rainer revealed everything, else he would have been a self-serving pawn towards her, but now, all she has is her rebellious pawn, who refuses to listen to any of her commands that she had given him. Issei dodged multiple fireballs as he had unleashed his telekinesis. He grabbed Riser from the throat and slammed him to the ground, making him groan in pain. As he got up regenerating, he grinned as he thought. Riser wonder what other powers he has been keeping from Riser. This is gonna be good. Riser unleashed a firestorm towards Issei, conjuring all the strength he had. He unleashed it towards Issei as Zalgo telepathically spoke. Zalgo. Ice, now's your chance, become eliminated. Issei. Yeah, got it. Issei was enveloped in flames as he pretended to be in pain and yelled. He was then enveloped in a green light as he got eliminated. Raphia. Pawn of Rias GREMORY has been eliminated. Rias fell to her knees. He was the only chance for her to win, as then an explosion was triggered courtesy of Youkai. Youkai. Nothing personal, kid. Raphia. Knight of Rias GREMORY has been eliminated. Youkai then joined Riser as he spoke. Riser. Do you wish to surrender, or we can continue fighting till there is nothing left? Your choice, my dear Rias. Riser internally hated himself for saying that. This belonged to Youkai, not Rias. He hated her for what she did to Issei as he turned his attention with a serious look. Rias sighed. She had officially lost the match as she spoke with a sad tone. Rias. I resign. Raphia then announced. Raphia. Rias GREMORY has resigned. Riser Phoenix is the official winner of this rating game. Scene change. Sona was surprised by the outcome. She knew Issei was strong. That begged the question, why did he give up? She could not come to any logical conclusion, at least for now. Even geniuses have their limits. Asia. Ice, what are you thinking? Asia spoke softly, something which Sona picked on as she asked. Sona. So even you are not aware of this, right? Asia nods her head sideways as Tsubaki spoke. Tsubaki. Either way, what do you think of the match? Sona. As much as I hate to say it, Rias did surprisingly well. Aside from that, this was a losing battle for Rias. Had Issei played a part, then Rias would have won, but knowing him, he hates her to the point that he will not even fight for her, let alone give his life for her sake. Asia nods in confirmation. Asia. That's true. Sona. So does Issei anything, or has any preferences? Sona spoke softly as Asia looked at her and spoke. Asia. Excuse me. Sona. Oh, nothing. Nothing much, I also don't know what I said. Sona wondered what had happened, as to why she even said that. She then wondered as to why Issei even lost the match. Scene change. The handsome man who seems to be in his early 20s. He has shoulder-length crimson hair and blue eyes inherited from his father, similar to Rias. In fact, has been described as the male version of Rias. The man was not happy with the outcome. His sight took particularly on Issei Haidu, as he knew he is hiding his power. In addition, his relation with Rias was aggressive and hostile. He listened to her, but he noticed that Issei did not want to and even hated her to some extent. That boy, Issei, that's his name, right? Grafia. Indeed, it is Lord Surzich's. Surzich's? Why did he not fight for Riatan? I don't understand, what's his problem? Surzich's exclaimed in anger, as Grafia spoke in thought. Grafia? Even I am not aware of this. He was even hostile to Lady Rias when Lord Riser had visited the human world. Something is off. Surzich's eyes, Rias is now forced to marry Riser, much to his anger and hatred. He despised the decision made by the elders and his own parents, along with the Phoenix clan. Surzich's. Either way, I would like to talk to him sometime. I need to fix their relationship before it is too late. He is important, the devil race cannot lose him. In addition, I need to prevent this marriage from happening. Grafia. So what will you do? Surzich's. Give this to him and tell him that if he wants to save my sister, then crash the wedding. Surzich's commanded Grafia as Grafia spoke. Grafia. As you wish, my lord. Grafia teleported to Issei's house, but little does he know, an audience was exactly what Issei wanted. He knew that Surzich's would be desperate to save his sister, and he fell right on Riser's plan. Previously we saw Issei deal with what happened in those 10 days, with Raynor nearly attacking Asia, and Issei sternly warning against it, with her life at stake. As he contemplated, Issei was greeted with Riser, who greeted him in an interesting manner. Once this was done, Riser managed to detect Issei's hostility towards Rias. When he did, he figured out as he asked Issei for what happened. Issei explained everything to his friend as he did. Calm Riser was furious, as he did, however Riser had a plan. The very next day, the group was ready for the raiding game, which actually surprised Asia. Since he knew that he hated Rias for not fighting her, Sona deduced the reason that Issei is fighting is because her older brother is watching. This angered Asia. But she eventually calmed down. As the fight started, they were all teleported, and Rias made a mistake of taunting Issei. Needless to say, Issei rebuffed her and demanded to start the fight. As she started to make plans, she asked Kaneko and Issei to head to the gym in order to take that as a strategic point. As they went there, Issei and Kaneko had a run-in with 3 of Riser's pawns, which Issei dismantled in just a few minutes. As the duo left, the gym was bombarded with Akeno's lightning. Meanwhile, Kaneko got eliminated courtesy of Eubulina. As Issei discussed with Eubulina about Riser, the purple-haired girl blushed at this, as Issei told to tell her later. Eubulina had a run-in with Akeno, as she began fighting with Eubulina. Issei left and was informed by Riser that he would be making an appearance very soon. As Issei grinned, he heard that 3 more pawns had been eliminated. This was Kiba's doing. As they joined up, Rias informed him that she and Raynor would be confronting Riser himself, which Issei thought was a dumb plan. As they came out, they had a run-in with the rest of Riser's peerage, as Issei and Kiba faced them, eliminating them. However, Akeno was eliminated by Eubulina, leaving only 4 people left. Riser was handling against the 2 girls at the meantime, with him completely demolishing them. Seeing this, Issei pretended to fight for them. As he did, he faced off against Riser, with both ready to fight having grins on their faces. As Riser fought against Issei used telekinesis and pyrokinesis and chaos magic against him, but he eventually lost. Along with Raynor, who was taken out earlier, eventually Kiba was taken out as well, resulting in Rias surrendering. Those that knew Issei's abilities were surprised by his loss, as Asia knew something was up. However, someone else also saw this, and he was not happy with the outcome. This was Surzich's Lucifer, and he wanted to talk to Issei before it was too late, or something bad happens. Haidu residence, 4:30 p.m. Issei teleported back to his house. After the match, he knew that Riser would invite him for the wedding, so that he could initiate part 2 of the plan, where he would have to save Rias to further his goals. Issei. So what now? Zalgo. Now we wait. If that devil is right, the Lucifer would save her from Riser. He is a Siskin than a devil. Issei. We can't judge a person by its book. He would be a good leader. I hope. Zalgo. Hope. Huh. Zalgo trailed off. As he did, Issei then was on guard. He had turned his attention to a Lucifuge magic circle. The person was revealed to be Graphia Lucifuge herself. Issei wondered what she was doing here as she speaks. Graphia. I hope I am not bothering you, Lord Issei. Issei. Graphia. Graphia. Yes, that's me. Anyways, I believe that I would like to talk to you about the match you had with Lord Riser. Issei. Okay. Issei was a bit worried. Her knowing means that there was a chance that Surziches knew as well. He would give Surziches a challenge, but he wasn't sure whether he could beat him. He needed to be careful. Graphia's expression was serious, as Issei lost his confused look and gave a neutral look, as she knew something was off. His aggression towards Rias was the first red flag. The second red flag was his usage of chaos magic, which was known to be unstable, and the third red flag, his perfect control of pyrokinesis and telekinesis. Issei. So what do you want to know? Graphia took a seat in Issei's room next to his bed. She then spoke with a neutral yet serious tone. Graphia. One question, what exactly is your relationship with Lady Rias, and if it is negative, then why do you hate her? Issei took a deep breath and spoke. Issei. Graphia, can I ask you a question? It will help me in my answer. Graphia. Very well. Go ahead. Issei. Did Rias ever tell you how I came to her peerage? Graphia thought for a moment. She did recall calling her a moment to inform her about the decision of the engagement being preponed. She never did tell about how she got most of her members. She never knew of Issei being a member until the time she had officially met him, along with the rest of the demons MX, Lord X and Hero Brine. Graphia. No, I am afraid not. Issei. Oh dear, this is gonna be a long story. Issei accounted everything from start to finish. As he did, Graphia was shocked. She never thought he was toyed and deceived with, something that should have never happened to him. It was almost like Rias was not the person she knew to be. Issei. And if you think she stopped there, then you are dead wrong. She went after my friends multiple times, so if you think that I love her or respect her, then you are wrong. I hate her, and these are my reasons. Graphia had tears in her eyes. She never believed that Rias could do this. A single lone tear fell down from her eye as Issei noticed this and spoke. Issei. I understand that you are not gonna believe. Sorry about that. I guess I shouldn't have told you that. Graphia wiped the tears off and spoke. Graphia. No, Issei, I see no reason in believing you, cause I know you are not lying. The reason for these tears are that I can't believe she did everything you told just now. If my lord hears this, his heart is gonna completely shatter. Issei handed her his handkerchief as she used it to wipe her face. Issei. I am sorry. Issei looked away. He knew that Graphia was not like Rias, evident by her love towards her family. Issei felt guilty, as he was responsible for making Graphia cry like this. Her view of Rias has been shattered because of what happened. Graphia. No, no, I am sorry for her behavior. I will do anything, such that it does not happen again. Issei. Should I get you something to eat or drink? Graphia. That won't be necessary, thank you Issei. Issei smiled in response. Graphia started to see something in him, something that was in her long-lost brother. The emotion was building up. Issei. Anyway, is there anything else you want to know? Graphia. I was going to give you this show's pamphlet and ask you to save her sister. Lord Lucifer's words, if you want to save my sister, then come in crashing, but now puts pamphlet away, but now, I don't know if you should. Issei. Give it to me. Graphia looked at him in shock as he spoke. Issei. I am not doing this for her, it is Riser, he deserves better, he loves you Bulina and not her, I am off to rescue him, tell your master, I am sorry. Graphia looks at him and sees his determined face. She then gives him the pamphlet as he teleports to the underworld, leaving Graphia alone as she clenched her fist in sadness, thinking one thing. Graphia. Why? Rias. Issei heads to the underworld using the pamphlet. As he does, he sees Asia waiting for him outside alongside Hero Brine. He wonders how those two got here. Issei. Hey guys. The two turned their attention towards Issei as they greeted him. Asia. Hey Issei. Hero Brine. So what beings you here, master, don't tell me you are gonna risky GREMORY. Issei. Quite the opposite actually. I am here for Riser. Hero Brine. I see. Asia. So why did you lose the raiding game? Issei. Well, this was all part of a plan I and Riser made up before the raiding game, hence why I decided to lose. If I did, Lord Lucifer would do anything to stop the marriage. Hence I thought that an audience would be good. Hero Brine. So that you can expose her for her crimes. That's expected from my lord, no mercy to his enemies. Asia. How do you plan on crashing the wedding? Issei. I have a few ideas. Issei spoke with a grin as they planned to enter inside the hall. Scene change. Riser scanned the crowd, looking for his friend. He tried sending an invitation for the wedding, but it seemed like he had lost it, and by the time he tried to find it, Ravel had called him to prepare for the wedding. Riser sighed. He could see Eubulina crying. She understood that his love was forced to marry thanks to his family. He informed her that he would try his best to prevent this marriage. That was the primary reason he needed Issei's help. His initial intention was to lose by Issei's hand, but after hearing his story, Riser wanted to win, so that he could help his friend while at the same time care for his love. Riser. Where are you, Issei? I thought you would come with your peerage. Riser then heard the signal for Ria's coming. As he sighed, he then announced. Riser. Ladies and gentlemen of the Devil Society, today Riser presents you, the bride and love of Riser's life, the heiress of GREMORY herself, Ria's GREMORY. The curtains opened up revealing Ria's dressed in a wedding outfit, which was white wedding gown, with flaps on either side. Her dress had several embroidered flowers and other designs etched on the skirt and the chest. Ria's had watery eyes during this. Riser also wore a white wedding blazer and a lower pants. His blazer was partially buttoned revealing his chest. One of the elders then speaks. Elder. Does anyone have any objections to this wedding? There was no sound among the people until someone yelled. Objection. The doors exploded revealing Issei, Herobrine and Asia. They were the presents that had showed up and they had came in with a bang. Guard. Run. They are monsters. The guard exclaimed in horror. Issei's hands radiated with chaos energy, with Asia's hair burning. She was ready to burn some people. Herobrine had his diamond sword ready as he spoke. Herobrine. Not gonna lie, this is an uncivilized way to crash a wedding party. I was expecting a kidnapping. Issei. But where is the fun in that? Ria's had tears of happiness in her eyes, seeing Issei here as Riser grinned. He spoke softly. Riser. You certainly know how to make an entrance, buddy. Now it's my turn. Riser pretended to be furious and yelled. Riser. Guards. Seize him. Herobrine. Issei, crash this party, we will handle them. Asia spoke while fire was burning in her hands. Asia. Leave it to us. But before a brawl could break out, a man had teleported in. This was Serziches as he shouted. Serziches. Halt. Riser turned his attention to Serziches and internally smirked. This is exactly what he wants. Serziches. Stop this at once, Riser. Riser pretended to be shocked while the guards had their guard but lowered their weapons as he exclaimed. Riser. But my lord, he is intruding. Serziches. I watched a raiding game and I am bored with what I saw. Ria's had barely any experience, well you had won several raiding games before. Riser. But isn't it the outcome that matters? Riser pleaded, but Serziches spoke. Serziches. We are past that, and besides I have called Issei here for some entertainment. He would provide us with some entertainment. Looks towards Issei. You there, you are Issei Haidu, right? What is it that you desire? Money, fame, girls, what do you want? Issei. If that is not a problem, then I would request an audience with you. Serziches. I see. No problem in fulfilling this request, well then consider your wish granted. One of the elders then spoke up against the idea. Elder. But my lord. You cannot give this low class being a reward. Issei got tick marks hearing this. Even Zalgo and Drake were equally furious at this. However, Issei took a deep breath and calmed down, as Serziches said. Serziches. An audience is hardly a big deal, it is not like he asked for something big. The elder was silenced, while Issei looked at the scene in amusement. Issei. Riser is right. He will do anything for that red-haired bitch. Issei thought as Riser thought. Riser. Things are proceeding as exactly as Riser has foreseen. He just gave us what we wanted. Riser then stood up and spoke. Riser. So how about this, Riser challenges you to another match before he settles down with his new family. Issei smiled in response. Issei. As you wish, Riser. Serziches. Well then the battle will start in a few minutes, both of you get ready. Serziches exclaimed as he had ordered Grafia to create a dimensional space for the battle to begin, as she nodded to do so. She had requested a private audience with Serziches, who agreed to her request without any issues. Scene change. The dimensional arena was created where Issei was standing on one side while Riser was standing on the other side. Back at the audience were members of the Phoenix family, Serziches, Grafia, Rias, Herobrine and Asia. Aside from them several noble devils were present as well. Lord Phoenix was described to be a man in his 20s, he wore a traditional outfit, similar to his son, with a burgundy blazer with gold embroidery on the right with matching pants and black dress shoes. However, unlike Riser, his button was closed and he had blonde hair that was tied in a bun. Lady Phoenix or Sierra Phoenix was a woman in her 20s just like Riser. She had blonde hair and blue eyes, with the only exception of her hair being done up very high with ornate hair decorations. She wore a red noble dress, which had several white designs on it, even on her ankles. She wore a golden chain with red gems on it. Ruvel Phoenix was described to be identical to his younger brother Riser. He wore a black blazer and black formal pants. He wore a white shirt and had blonde hair, however unlike Riser, he wore it properly. Claire Phoenix was the second child of the Phoenix family, and the younger brother. She was described to be a voluptuous woman who had blonde hair. She wore a traditional reddish gold, which was akin to a noble dress, as it had several embroidery on it. She also wore heels that were maroon red in color, and had her hair tied in two twin tails and blue eyes. Lord Phoenix then spoke with a smile. Lord Phoenix? Is that Issei? Bravel. It is father. Bravel spoke with a smile, as Lord Phoenix spoke. Lord Phoenix. He had grown so much, who knew I would be meeting him after such a long time. Lady Phoenix. It seems like fate wants us to meet together. I wonder what his parents and sister are doing right now. Lord Phoenix. And to think he is your pawn, that is indeed a surprise. Lord Phoenix looks away from Riaz, who flinches. If they knew of any idea how she recruited him, this would turn the Phoenix family against her and the rest of the family. Brafia. So you did that. How could you, Riaz? Brafia looked at Riaz, as she herself confirmed what Issei had said, something which Surziches did not see, as he was more focused on the Phoenix family knowing Issei on a personal level. Surziches. Say Brafia, any idea why Issei wants to talk with me? Brafia. No, he wanted to talk to you personally, that's all I know. Brafia spoke whole, narrowing her eyes, as Surziches nods, as Claire had a slight blush and a smile towards him, as Ruvel spoke. Ruvel, so miss your little brother Claire? Ruvel had a smug smile, as Claire blushed and exclaimed. Claire. No, not really. Brother, what are you talking about? Ruvel. Oh, don't be, your secret is way safe with me. Claire glared towards her brother, as Ruvel chuckled. She wanted to pull his ear, but she could not do it while he is around, as Ruvel spoke. Ruvel. Jokes aside, it is really good to see him once again. It was because of him Riser was way different. Aside from those rumors. Ruvel growled at the last part, as Claire had lost her blush and was equally sad, as Ruvel also viewed him as a little brother. Claire knew because of those false rumors of being a pervert and a womanizer. Many of the devils looked down upon him, one of them being Riaz and her older brother. Claire. I hope that it should not last for much long. Claire spoke softly while keeping her hand on her chest. She had a sad look towards her little brother, as she is aware of people looking down on him because of some false rumors. Scene change. Riser. Well, you ready for this? Issei activated chaos energy in his arms, surprising the guests, as Issei grinned. Issei. Well, I am, what about you? Riser. I am. Well, all we need to do is wait for the announcer to begin. Riser and Issei both had their abilities on ready as Grafia gave the signal to ready. Issei rushed towards Riser and punched Riser with his fists. As Riser blocked it with one hand, Issei responded with a roundhouse kick. Riser flew back using his flame wings as he unleashed his heat wave ability, trying to burn Issei, who used a pyrokinesis shield to defend himself. Issei used umberkinesis to create several shadows. He commanded them to move forward. Riser burned all of them with ease. As he did, Issei came from the side and unleashed a punch using his enhanced strength. As he was being pushed back, he had a smirk on his face. Riser then unleashed a flame barrage towards Issei, while exclaiming. Riser. Firebird and Fengyuang. The hellfire of our clan that was praised as being that of a phoenix. Taste it with your own body and turn into ashes. Riser unleashed several firebirds and hellfire towards Issei. As Issei took a direct hit, he did not defend himself, seeing a massive explosion. Riser watched in horror, as he thought. Riser. Shit, Riser didn't mean to overdo it. He turned his attention to his family, out of which Ravel and Claire were giving him a death glare. He gulped in horror. He was scared of his sister's anger as he spoke. Riser. I'm toast. However, when the dust settled, Issei was fine. He had blocked the attack with his bare hands, with his hands being partially burned. He then exclaimed. Issei. Not bad. Truly, if you were to face Riaz and her peerage minus me alone, then it would have been an easy win for you. Riser. That's true. But you know. Issei sighs and responds. Issei. I know. I know. And I don't blame you, you won and that's what matters. Surziches looked slightly angry at Issei's words. He had an idea what Riser and Issei was talking, but then again, he protected his sister since he thought Riser was a womanizer. He used his power to protect his sister, and Riser won. He deserves something in return. Issei. So shall we end this, one attack? Riser. You bet. Riser and Issei unleashed their strongest attack, however Issei held back significantly as he knew that if he overdid it, he would end up severely injuring Riser, if not killing him. Issei then yelled. Issei. Chaos Blast. Riser. Hellfire. Both unleashed their strongest attacks. Riser unleashed a storm of flames, which clouded the whole arena, while Issei unleashed a stream of chaos magic, which was akin to a funnel, as the chaos magic and flames disintegrate each other. However, chaos magic was pushing the flames away. As Riser started to get overwhelmed, the chaos magic performed a direct hit towards Riser. Riser's family looked on in worry, while the others were in shock. A low-class devil managed to damage a high-class devil. As the dust settled, Riser was conscious, as he had several marks of chaos energy as Issei spoke. Issei. Chaos energy slows down regeneration. Worry not, your regeneration should kick in right now. Riser fell on his knees while speaking. Riser. You win. Issei approached and helped Riser up, as Grafia declared him the winner. Riaz was speechless. She always thought Issei was a weak, easy to manipulate person, but the man in front of her was a complete different person altogether. The duo then headed back to the wedding hall to enjoy the party. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei and Chibi Riser, hunting Chibi Riaz. Issei, Herobrine and Asia were enjoying the party as they did. They were joined by the rest of the Phoenix family, who were brought along with Riser himself. Lord Phoenix. Hello Issei, it's been a while. Issei. You are. Riser. My father, Lord Phoenix. Issei, don't you remember him? Issei. Oh right, Lord Phoenix, it has been a while I have seen you. Lord Phoenix. Ahaha, Issei my boy, it has been a while since I have seen you or the rest of your family. How are you doing? Issei. I am fine. So are you angry that I broke the relationship? Sierra. Quite the contrary, we hold nothing against you. It was kind of our fault that we got Riser into a relationship he did not desire. Issei. I see. Anyways, let me introduce you to Herobrine and Asia, my friends. The family was surprised by the presence of a demon here, but they nevertheless accepted the two as Issei's friends. A friend of Issei was a friend of theirs, Sierra then asked. Sierra. Say Issei, how is Mickey doing? Issei flinched at this, while Herobrine and Asia paled, as Issei spoke while suppressing his emotions. Issei. They are fine Lady Phoenix, Dad and Masami are fine as well. Sierra. That's good to hear. And you should call me Aunt Sierra, like you always did. Issei. But won't that be embarrassing to you? Sierra chuckled in response as she spoke while keeping a hand on her mouth. Sierra. No worries, it was actually nice when someone did not refer to you by a title. Claire was the next as she spoke. Claire. Issei, do you remember me? Claire had a helpful look as Issei rubbed his head and spoke. Issei. I am sorry. But who are you? Claire. Huh. Riser and Ruvel along with Ravel were shocked as Lord and Lady Phoenix looked at her in pity as she spoke. Claire. I. Claire was shocked. Issei did not remember her as Issei thought for a moment and spoke. Issei. Wait a minute. Clairon-chan, is that you? Claire. Issei. Claire's look changed into a bit of a smile as she spoke. Claire. So you remember. Issei. I do, now at least. You used to play with me for awfully long amounts of time. Claire's had a bit of embarrassment as she remembered the past. She rubbed her head and spoke. Claire. That's true. Issei. Anyways, it's good seeing you, so how have you been doing? Claire. I have been fine. And did you meet Ruvel? Ruvel, hello Issei, it's been a while. Issei wondered who Ruvel was, then it clicked, he was the oldest among the 4 Phoenix siblings, as he spoke. Issei. Ruvel Nai. Ruvel. It's good to see you again, Issei. Claire. Wait a minute, you remembered everyone else, why not me? Claire exclaimed in an annoyed tone, as Issei waved his hands in defense while looking fearful, and spoke. Issei. Sorry. But in my defense you looked way different the last time we met and that was years ago. Sierra. That's true Claire, you were way different, it has been almost 12 years since you have seen each other. Sierra chuckled as Claire blushed. Sierra was aware of her daughter's liking towards Issei, as he was the only one that actually showed her true personality, when only her family or Issei or Masami was around, with Issei being the most, aside from her own family. Asia and Herobrine also introduced themselves to the Phoenix family, and all in all, they were getting along relatively well, with Asia enjoying talking to Ravel and Claire the most. As Issei stood by the side, he noticed Surziches and Grafia walking towards him. This caused most of the conversation to put to a halt as the Phoenix family greeted him. Surziches. Hello Issei, I hope you are not busy. Issei. No, I am not. So tell me, do you wish to talk now? Surziches. Indeed, well, from being obvious, you obviously dislike Riaz. Right. Issei. Do you want to know the answer? Surziches. No. I think I do. There was a silence from the two, with even the Phoenix family and Issei's friends being also silent, intently watching the two converse. As Surziches spoke. Surziches. So can you tell me what exactly she did to cause your dislike for her? Issei. Instead of telling you, how about I show you and to everyone in the party? Right here, if that's alright with you. Surziches thought about it for a while, as he spoke. Surziches. Very well, I am alright with it. How bad can it be? Issei, Riser, Asia and Herobrine were all paled by this, they pitied him for believing in his sister, as Zalgo thought. Zalgo. He is gonna soon regret his words. Scene change. The setup has been built, it was an Ingil projector as Issei connected it with a boosted gear, he knew that if the whole underworld saw Ria's reputation would be lowered if not completely tarnished. Riaz and her peerage wondered what Issei was doing, as Issei took the mic and announced. Issei. Alright everyone. Today, since this is my friend's party, I have decided to make this party much more exciting and entertaining. Riaz and the others wondered what Issei was saying, however those that know of the conversation had an idea of what Issei is about to do. Grafia and Riser dreaded the outcome of what will happen, she will be executed if word gets out that she has neglected her territory and let a human die, she will lose everything. However Riser did find any pity for his ex-fiancée. Issei. Now then. Let me show you the memories of how I became a member of the lovely peerage of Ria's GREMORY. Riaz paled at this, and so did the most of the peerage, Sona, and her peerage also were in shock, that is what Issei had wanted, she knew that Riaz has a possible chance of dying, but then again, she did not know what to feel, on one hand, Riaz deserves to be punished, but she couldn't fathom her death. Riaz. I say, see can we and not do this? Issei. Oh Riaz, let the whole devil kingdom see how you managed to get the Red Dragon Emperor as your peerage member. The revelation shocked everyone minus those that knew him as the Red Dragon Emperor. Even the Phoenix family was surprised by this, but were nevertheless happy with one of the two heavenly dragons joining the devils. Issei. Well then, let's begin. Riaz. New. Issei activated his memories as the projector displayed everything from him defeating the Fallen, however it was revealed that the Fallen revealed the truth of everything, with Riaz orchestrating his death, to her actions of revealing that she had collaborated with her peerage minus Kiba on her death. The crowd was shocked, many were speechless, both Claire and Ravel had tears in their eyes, and angrily glared at Riaz. Sierra also had a disgusted look on her face towards Riaz. The males of the Phoenix family clenched their fist in anger, and glared at Riaz. They mentally thanked Issei for stopping the marriage of Riser and Riaz. Riser. Karma's a bitch, ain't it Riaz? Riser thought while grinning towards Riaz, who was sweating from the glares as she nervously looked around trying to escape. Even her own family was shocked and angered by this. Surziches was devastated hearing this, he almost fell to his knees, as Grafia held him, she knew how much Riaz meant to him, and was even more shocked seeing this. The mother Vanellina GREMORY was described to be a woman in her 20s, she looked like her daughter with shorter flaxen hair and violet eyes, much like the natural born. She wore a white skirt with brown sleeves, and had white hand coverings, the clothing displayed her voluptuous figure. The father Zeoticus has the appearance of a middle-aged, handsome-looking man with long crimson hair that is tied in a loose ponytail with a black hairband. He has bright blue eyes just like his two children, Surziches and Riaz GREMORY. He also has a short and red beard or stubble. He wore a white tuxedo with golden marking on the edge of the collar and shirt and had golden buttons, he wore a white pants and a white shoes. Issei. But if you think she stopped there, then you are dead wrong. She took it one step further, going after my human friends when I refused to comply and attacked Asia several times using her peerage. Issei announced as many looked towards Asia as she nodded in confirmation, further angering the crowd and shocking them. The anger was directed towards Riaz. Riaz was looking down, tears streaming from her eyes as Riaz screamed towards Issei. She had a red blush and she angrily glared at Issei, gritting her teeth. Riaz. This is all your fault. I should have left you for dead. When Rainer killed you, I revived you, and this is how you repay me, with exposing me. How could you know? How dare you? Issei Haidu, you will pay for this. However, someone from the audience had enough, the person approached Riaz and slapped her, hard, on her face. The person was revealed to be Vanellina GREMORY, and she had tears in her eyes, she then spoke in a low tone before shouting. Vanellina. Not a word from you. Riaz, how could you do this to him? How could you let him and that girl die? They were innocent. I have raised you better than this. Riaz. But mother, Vanellina. Silence. Vanellina boomed as nobody said a word, even Issei was silent, however he hardly pitied his ex-master, she had this coming. Even Surziches and Zeocidus were afraid of Vanellina's wrath, she has had enough of this. Vanellina then turned her attention to Issei and spoke in an apologetic tone. Vanellina. Issei Haidu, as the matriarch of the GREMORY family, I apologize for my daughter's actions, I blame myself, I should have raised her well, better than this, I know my words cannot fix the suffering you two have had, I hope you don't hate me and the rest of my family for my daughter's actions. Issei thought for a while, and spoke. Issei. Lady GREMORY, you are not at fault, please don't blame yourself. Vanellina. But rest assured, I will make sure that my daughter will be punished for her actions. That is my promise to you. Issei. Very well, Lady GREMORY, I hope you keep your word. Vanellina. That I will, now let me take my daughter and her peerage home. Vanellina was about to leave, as Issei spoke. Issei. Wait, Lady GREMORY, there is another thing I need to tell you. Vanellina. What? Did she do something else? Issei nodded his head sideways and responded. Issei. If you have seen my memories, then you know that Udo Kiba is innocent in all this, as the Red Dragon Emperor I can find out lies, and that man is innocent, so please don't punish him along with the rest. Vanellina looked at Kiba, who had his eyes watered. Issei stood up for him. He mentally thanked Issei, as Vanellina spoke with a smile. Vanellina. Rest assured, he will not be punished. Vanellina looked towards him, proud that at least he is not like the rest of Ria's peerage, as Ajuka had spoken, since Urzich's was in tears, with Grafia consoling him. Ajuka. There will be a trial for Ria's GREMORY, for her actions. It will happen on Thursday 1500 hours UTC. I would like you to come for your testimony, Issei Haidu, Asia Argento. Issei looked at him for a moment. Issei. Very well, we will be there. Issei took one last look at Ria's, and seeing her suffer made her smile. He then spoke. Issei. This is just the beginning, Ria's GREMORY. Previously we saw Issei heading back and waiting for Riser's next phase of the plan, however Grafia had showed up, as she wanted to interrogate Issei. Issei decided to spill the beans, as this caused Grafia to shed a tear, as Issei then decided to stop, as he knew that Ria's meant a lot to her, after which Grafia reluctantly gave the teleporting seal to Issei. As he teleported he met up with Asia and Herobrine, and the trio decided to crash the wedding. As they did, Issei was then met up with Surzich's, who informed that he would get anything in return if he would have asked for, as Issei asked for an audience. As time passed, Riser and Issei were teleported to a dimensional space. As they began fighting, Riser constantly attacked him with several fire attacks and used hellfire to completely defeat Issei, as Issei countered with pyrokinesis and chaos magic to defeat Riser. As they continued fighting, Issei was overwhelmed by an attack, as Riser was horrified to have overdone it. However, Issei was alright, as he walked. They both decided to end this with one final attack, as their attacks contacted towards each other. Issei's attack managed to overwhelm Riser's, leaving him defenseless. Riser was defeated when he yielded, giving Issei the win, as it shocked everyone present in the party. After a while, Issei, Asia and Herobrine enjoy the food. They are greeted by the Phoenix family, as they all remember him. Issei greets the parents, who ask about his parents. Issei reluctantly answers that they are fine. As Claire asks whether he remembers her, Issei fails to recollect, causing Claire to fall into despair. However, Issei recollects, causing Claire to once again be happy. As Ruvel introduced himself, Issei remembered him, causing Claire to get angry, as she angrily responded to why Issei did not remember. Issei defended himself that she looked way different, with Sierra supporting him. He then introduced his friends to the group, as they started to happily converse with each other. However, their conversation is interrupted by Surzich's, who asks whether Issei wanted to converse or not, as he decided to tell everyone present in the party, which Surzich's accepted. He then headed to the center stage and connected the boosted gear with a projector. He then announced that he would be telling the whole party on how he came into the GREMORY peerage, much to Ria's horror and shock. Ria's pleaded, however Issei ignored and showed him his past, angering and shocking many. Even her own family glared at her. He then revealed that she used hostages to get him to command. This turned everyone in the party against her. As she yelled towards Issei, sealing her fate, her mother Vanellina has had enough and slapped her in front of everyone before reprimanding her. She then apologized to Issei. Before leaving, Issei tells her that Kiba was innocent, which she nods, before smiling, as Ajuka announces the trial date and time. Trial of Ria's GREMORY, City of Lilith. Time: 1530. The Court of Lilith was a spacious place, almost akin to the Supreme Court of the United Nations. It had an area where the judge had a comfy chair that he presided upon, with Ajuka being the one to preside the judge's role. It had a bench made of mahogany wood, as well as 2 seating areas, which is where the court documents would be written. 2 devils presided onto the seats of those seating areas. There was another seating area, which was around on both the sides of the building, each with 4 members of the jury, that being the current leaders of the houses. The members were Lord GREMORY, Lord Bale, Lord Citri, Lord Phoenix on one side. The other side had Lord Furkaz, Lord Amon, Lord Astaroth and Lord Glazlulabolas. The 2 areas present on the opposite sides of the judge were seating areas. Among the guests were members of the GREMORY family, minus her peerage, Phoenix family, Citri family, and other noble devils. It also had Issei's friends present, that being MX, Lord X, Herobrine, Asia and Purin present. Purin sat on Asia's lap while the court proceeded. There was another seating arrangement, meant for both the accuser and the defendant, that being Issei Haidu and Ria's GREMORY, as there was a court case going on. Ria's GREMORY had handcuffs suppressing her power, same were with Akeno, Kaneko and Rainer. Kiba was the only one that did not have handcuffs, he was standing next to Issei's side for the trial. Each had a lawyer meant to defend themselves. The conversation and discussion happened between the jury and the guests of the court as Ajuka struck the hammer against a sound block as he spoke. Ajuka. Order. Order. Everyone become silent. I would like to thank you all for coming today to witness the trial of Ria's GREMORY. Now let me give you a brief rundown. The defendant Ria's GREMORY has been accused of killing the accuser Issei Haidu in an attempt to get the Red Dragon Emperor to join the Devil faction. I will be standing in place of Surzich's since he could not come due to personal reasons. There was murmuring in the court as Ajuka struck the hammer against the sound block. This was the beginning of the trial. Ajuka. Well, now then, Ria's GREMORY, will you give your statement? The lawyer speaks instead of Ria's GREMORY. GREMORY. Your Honor, my client is innocent. Her actions were the results of the manipulation of the fallen angel Rainer. She is the reason why the accuser, Lord Issei, has put on my client that she had let him die. Haidu. Objection. Ajuka then looked at him and spoke. Ajuka. Go ahead. Haidu. How can you say that she was manipulated by a low-class fallen angel? Are you implying that Lady Rias was foolish enough to be manipulated by her? The lawyer grunted his teeth. While he did not like Rias for what she did, a job is a job, he was asked to represent Rias, despite her actions. But at the same time, he hated to lose against his opponents. Haidu. Now then, my client would like to say something about the situations. Lord Issei, please give your statement. Issei stands up as a devil flies to him, he then takes an oath and speaks. Issei. I shall speak the truth, and the truth only. Now this brings some bad memories, but when I was going for a date with Rainer, under the alias as Yuma Mano, she knew of me going to my date, that is why I know she sent someone to spy. GREMORY. Objection. Ajuka. Overruled, let him complete. GREMORY nods, as Issei continues. Issei. Where was I? Oh yeah. She sent someone to spy, as she revived me immediately when I was about to die. Now how did she know I was going to die? How did she know where I was gonna die? I never thought about that because I had faith in her because of her being my master. GREMORY. Objection. My lord, can I question the accusation? Ajuka looks at him and speaks. Ajuka. Go ahead. The lawyer approaches Issei and talks to him. GREMORY. You said that she was going to let you die, and by that she sent a spy. How can you correlate between the two events? Issei. Simple, I had this feeling that the girls in the occult research club were keeping things deliberately from me. It almost felt like she was hiding something from me. However, that was until Rainer, the fallen angel herself, confessed to me that night that she had orchestrated everything. GREMORY. Very well then, did you knew that Miss Rainer was a fallen angel before your date with her? Issei. No, I did not, neither did I know that Rainer was a fallen angel. Hell, for me she was a human named Yuma Mano. Until then, I did not even know her real name until she told me at the church before exposing Rias for her crimes in an effort to save herself. GREMORY. Alright, for my final question, Lord Issei, are you sure that my client Lady Rias herself was the one that orchestrated your death with her peerage minus Mr. Kiba? If so, can you prove your claim? Issei. Yes, and the reason is that Rainer herself told me that. There are multiple ways I found that out. The first one was that her life was in danger, and she would do anything to save her life from the danger she was in. 2. The guilty and fearful faces of Miss Himejima, Miss Daoju, and Miss GREMORY was the second giveaway, as well as Ria's killing my pawn, in the name of toying with my pawn. Third, was the fact that she admitted it herself during the church encounter, when she confessed herself when I myself interrogated her. GREMORY. But. Ajuka. Sorry, but you only told 3 questions. You may not ask any more questions. The lawyer reluctantly nodded and took a seat next to Rias. Rias knew that her fate was getting sealed as she knew that the trial was going against her. The jury started to speak among themselves once again as Ajuka struck the metal board speaking. Ajuka. Order. Order. Now then, would the defendant like to bring someone to speak? Rias stood up while speaking. Rias. I would like to bring Rainer to speak. This surprised everyone minus Akeno and Kaneko, as they had planned this, as Issei wondered what Rias was up to. Even Asia and the other demons knew that something was off. Why would she call Rainer, someone who confessed the crimes, as he saw a smirk in Ria's face? Issei gritted his teeth when he saw that smirk. He knew that once again she was going to lie too. He had to control himself, as this was a trial and not a fight. Ajuka. Now then, Rainer, would you give your story? Rainer takes the oath before speaking. Rainer. I shall speak the truth, and the truth only. Well, what Issei said was true. I did date him disguised as Yuma Mono, but our Rias did not let Issei die. I only SP spoke to toy with Issei. He. Rainer stuttered a lot, many did not believe what she said, as the lawyer of Issei spoke. I do. Your Honor, can I have a cross-examination with a witness? Ajuka. You may. The lawyer approached her and asked. I do. Alright, first question, why did you toy with my client on his date? Rainer. Because he was deemed as a threat. He needed to be eliminated, so that is why I took my time to toy and eliminate him. Rainer responded normally as Issei gritted his teeth and glared at Rainer, who flinched out of fear. She was afraid that Issei would rip her throat out. Issei turned away in disgust, seeing that she was rotten to the core. Many were disgusted at Rainer and gave the girl death glares as Rainer cowered in fear. I do. Now for my last and final question, you claim that you only toyed with Issei. That is something we know of, already judging from your actions towards him, but then again, what made you think that turning my client against his master's peerage would be beneficial toward you, aside from saving your life and toying with him for your own pleasure? Since I am aware that most fallen despise devils, I think this is a fate far worse than death itself. So tell me, what other reason you had then, not only joining the GREMORY peerage as well as killing my client? Rainer was speechless as the lawyer deduced and spoke. I do. It's simple, based on my cross-examination, the witness Miss Rainer has been lying to us the whole time. Ajuka. And how can you prove that? I do. 2 reasons, Your Honor. One is that she was stuttering during the report. You mostly don't stutter if you are confident in what you are saying, truth or lies. That meant that she was unsure of what she was saying, which made me suspect that she was lying or is afraid of diverging the truth. But then I noticed during my cross-examination that Rainer was speechless, aside from the reason and her constant actions of avoiding eye contact, as well as her speechless response, I have deduced that she was lying. Ajuka. I see. Ajuka narrowed his eyes towards the former fallen, who was nervously sweating. Her body language told him everything he needed to know. That is why Surziches asked him to preside as the judge of the court, because in Surziches' emotions, he would do something he did not want to, like give injustice. So that is why he decided to stay put and let Ajuka lead, who was more than happy for his friend's sake, as he's still in despair, thanks to what Rias did. Ajuka. Miss Rainer. Ajuka spoke as Rainer flinched. He had an idea on how he can get her to confess the truth. There was something called plea bargaining, where a defendant is given a lesser sentence in return for revealing the truth. Ajuka knew that Rainer would hold animosity towards Rias for turning her into a devil. Ajuka. If you can reveal the truth about what happened. If it was not obviously clear that you are lying, then you will be given a lesser sentence. Rainer thought about it and spoke. Rainer. I accept. Rias, Akeno and Kaneko looked horrified as Rainer spoke. Rainer. It's true, I hated being in this dumpster fire of a peerage, and yes, I sensed the GREMORY cat when she spied on Issei, she reported back to Rias, and besides, I did not hide my aura along with my friends when we headed to Kuo. Rias could have easily stopped me, but she chose not to. She did this so that she could get Issei to her side. Rias. Rainer. How could you? Ajuka. Order. Order. Behave yourself, Lady GREMORY. Ajuka interrupted them by striking the soundboard as Rias sat down, glaring towards Rainer as Ajuka spoke. Ajuka. You may be seated, Rainer. Rainer nods and does so. She ignores the glares of the 3 girls. Ajuka then speaks. Ajuka. Is there anyone else that likes to give a word? I would. The person stood up, revealing to be Sona Citri herself. Rias turned her attention to the voice and was further shocked as she spoke. Rias. Sona. Ajuka. Well, Lady Citri, what do you wish to say? Can you come forward and do so? Sona nods as she gives her own statement. Sona. Well, I wanted to inform you about one more thing. I and Rias are both joint owners of Kuo. As a result, I am equally responsible for its protection, as is Rias, so I wanted to tell you something. Your Honor, I knew of the fallen coming. I went to Rias for asking who should be dealing with them. I assumed that Rias would be able to handle it. I trusted her, and she used that to her advantage. She killed the fallen and would have Issei as her servant. She manipulated and lied to me, to Issei, to get what she wants. Rias promised and convinced me that she would be dealing with them, and I believed her. Sona's answer shocked everyone. This shock changed to anger. There was heavy discussion, and many wanted to insult and humiliate Rias for her actions. Rias heard many things. You deceiver. Murder she is, thrown to the cossetas she must be. She used her own wealth to her advantage. She can't be trusted, even her own friends can't. I pity her peerage, they were fools to follow her. Those were the things she heard, as Rias held her head in shame and fear. Ajuka then decided to give a verdict after discussing with the jury. Ajuka. Well then, I give you the verdict of the case. I find the defendant Rias GREMORY and her peerage guilty. Ajuka spoke as Riaz knew that her dream was as good as gone. She wanted to be independent, have her own rating game champion, but now she will never become one. Ajuka. Guilty for violating Section 50, Clause 27, if a devil who owns a territory willingly lets an innocent man, woman or child die, must protect the territory with her own life multiple times. Section 25 Clause 78, working with a being of another race, must have the approval and knowledge of the 4 devil kings, voluntarily or involuntarily. Mismanagement and betrayal of a contracted agreement of dual ownership. Ajuka then took a deep breath and spoke. Ajuka. Her punishment would be that she would be stripped from not only the ownership of the Kuo, and it would be completely transferred to Sona Citri, albeit temporarily, as another high-class devil will be taking the place of Ria's GREMORY, but also she would no longer be the heiress of the GREMORY household, she would only be the namesake heiress, until the current heir Milika's GREMORY becomes ready and of ripe age to become the new heir of the GREMORY family. In addition, she would only be attending Kuo Academy till she is graduated and can only visit the human world while she is in her studies. She will be spending the rest of her life in the underworld and cannot head to the human world unless the Devil Kings agree on it collectively. Her peerage will also receive the same sentence, minus the heiress and ownership for obvious reasons. Rainer would still be allowed to visit the human world, however she will be under heavy supervision. The reason is that she testified against Riaz, and hence she can visit the human world, but if you even hurt or kill a human, you will be imprisoned in Cocytus for the rest of the life. And as long as the 4 of you are in school or in Kuo, you cannot hurt any human or supernatural being. The only exception to this is Yudo Kiba, since he was unaware of this the entire time, unlike the rest of the peerage. Issei Haidu and Yudo Kiba, you may come into my office to get your pieces get converted into free pieces. Ajuka then scanned across the room, seeing multiple emotions across the room as Ajuka spoke. Ajuka. Any objections? Issei. I have a question. I feel like this punishment seems lenient for her actions. And the fact that she is here, I still am weary about her being in my school, since she has become a threat to me and my friends. Ajuka narrowed his eyes and sighs. Ajuka. I am sorry, I can't change my decision, albeit slightly. I wasn't the one who made these laws, Mr. Issei, it was the Devil Council, and I understand your concerns, but if she is caught violating any of the rules, she will be charged for contempt of court, which will result in much severe punishments. And besides, you only have to deal with them for 6 months, at most, if I am correct. Issei reluctantly nods, as much as he was not satisfied. In a way, she has been dealt with, he will not hesitate to take her down if needed be. She has almost lost everything, as Ajuka struck the hammer on as he spoke. Ajuka. This court is adjourned. Ajuka and the jury left the court with their own magic circle, as some devil guards took Riaz and her peerage minus Kiba, who stayed back. Even the rest of the people and guests present leave the room, leaving the Phoenix family and Issei's friends in the courtroom. Rizer and his family approached Issei, as Rizer gave a bro fist, he then spoke. Rizer. Seems like you have got justice, Issei. Issei. I don't know. I don't seem satisfied. Sierra. That's the devil law, I understand that you may not be satisfied, but that's how it is. Issei. But. Erval. I know that you are worried for your friend's safety, that is why I have a plan. And a request. Claire, if you may. Claire approached forward and spoke. Claire. Ice, if you don't mind, can I come to Kuo? I will be joining Kuo Academy the next day. Sona has already done the paperwork for me. Issei. Okay. Claire then spoke with a blush. Claire. I will be living in your house. If you don't mind. Issei. Huh. Issei was shocked, with Asia glaring at Issei with a pout, fire igniting her hair. The 4 demons backed away out of fear. They knew what would be in big trouble, and they pity their master, since they are afraid. Claire. Plus, I am ultimate class, I can easily take Riaz down, so unless you have a problem. Claire changed her tone to sadness. Issei pitied her and spoke. Issei. I don't mind. Claire beamed and spoke. Claire. Really? Issei. Yes. Anything to make my One-chan smile. Issei gave a good guy smile, as Claire rushed to him and embraced him lovingly. Issei had a massive blush as he realized that her chest was completely touching his body. The flames on Asia's hair increased even more, as she almost had her eyes change color to a blood red, as the demons behind her fell back even further. Hypno protectively held Purin out of fear. But the Pokemon also concerned for her dear life. MX. See, can you ask her to stop, Hero? MX spoke out of fear, while Hero Brian spoke. Hero Brian. I don't want to die. Lord X. Her anger reminds me of Sally, someone stop her. Lord X paled when he remembered how angry Sally.exe can get when she opens her eyes, is when she is the angriest. He knew not to mess with her. Rizer and Ruvel smiled at this, as Sierra smiled. Claire had found the man she loved. Ravel was a bit jealous of the situation. Scene change. Issei, Claire and Asia all head back as the demons went back to their dimensions and Purin went back inside the Pokeball. Asia also wanted to stay with Issei as Claire spoke. Claire. I will convince your parents, don't worry. Leave that to me. Issei. You sure? Claire. I am an ultimate class devil, I can easily negotiate for this. Issei nods as the trio teleport to the area. They head to the Haidu residence, shocking the residents as they finally reunite with Claire. However, Issei looked away. He did not want to hurt Claire, so he decided to hide the truth, for now at least. He will tell her sometime in the future. Claire managed to convince his parents to let her and Asia stay here, with the two girls agreeing to sleep with Issei. Thankfully, hypnosis magic did its work, and she was easily able to convince the parents and the sister. Scene change. Issei was on the roof of his house, wondering how things have been changed as he did. Drake then spoke. Drake. Partner, there is a draconic presence in your house. Issei jolted up and spoke. Issei. Are you sure? It is only my parents, Masami, Claire and Asia present, and I don't think anyone is a dragon. Drake. Just check it out, I hope it is not her. Issei. Who are you talking about? Zalgo was the one to speak next. Zalgo. He is talking about Tiamat. Needless to say, she hates Drake for taking her stuff. Drake was surprised. He promised not to tell him about that as Issei spoke in a deadpan tone. Issei. Dude. Uncool. Drake. Anyways, check it out. Issei. Alright, lead the way. Issei was then guided to the door as he saw that this was his sister's room. As he failed to see anything obvious aside from the fact that his sister was sleeping, he then spoke softly. Issei. Are you sure it is her? Drake. I am, partner, be on alert. She could be a threat to you. Issei. Very well. Issei then heads back to his room for the night. For another day, as it does, a gem activates on Masami's hand as a feminine voice speaks. That was a close call. I need to be careful from now on. Issei woke up the next day. He knew that his school will be different from before. He knew that things will be different from before, as Riaz is pretty much on a leash like the rest of the peerage, minus Kiba. He knew that he had to tolerate her for only a few months before she is sent packing back to the underworld. Then it is the GREMORY's problem, not his. Issei rolled to the side of his bed as he fell flat on someone's chest. As his face was inserted into the chest, he sensed something warm. As he looked up, he saw Claire next to him sleeping. She had worn a night suit with phoenix images on the shirt and pant. Both were white in color. As Claire pulled Issei towards her and hugged Issei towards her chest, making him unable to breathe. As Issei struggled, he spoke. Issei. See, Claire. I am unable to breathe. Claire's eyes started to open. As she turned down, she released Issei and jolted up on the bed, having a heavy blush on her face. As she kept her hand on her face, she spoke. Claire. I am so sorry. Issei managed to properly breathe as he took deep breaths to stabilize his breathing. Both Drake and Zalgo chuckled as Drake spoke telepathically. Drake. Hey, partner, you will die a happy man if she continues this. Issei. Oh, shut it, you overgrown lizard. Drake. Make me. Zalgo. Guys. Anyways, she would be an amazing queen for your empire, and so will Asia. I ship the three of you. Issei blushed at this as he looked at Claire with a blush on his face. She did look pretty good. She looked like Asia's older sister and could be mistaken as such. As Issei spoke. Issei. Claire, are you alright? Issei kept his hand in concern for Claire as she spoke. Claire. Why, yeah, I am fine. This is the first time I have shared a room with a boy not from my intermediate family. Issei. I thought you were sleeping down, like Asia did. Claire. I wasn't able to sleep, so I came up and I felt really comfortable sleeping next to you. Claire spoke while looking away. She had blushed. She felt really comfortable when she slept next to Issei. As she did, Claire remembered her past. Claire had what one could describe as a beautiful body and a voluptuous figure that men could kill for. As a result, many noble devils were behind her. This has been going on for the past 300 years for as much as she could remember. As a result, she had developed a cold personality, rejecting all those lustful men that only cared for her body. This went on for several decades and for a very long time. However, things became better for her when the Phoenix family decided to head to Kuo on a vacation, as they lived there for several years since devil vacation lasts for a decade, given their long lifespans. That is where she met the Haidu family, and the rest is history. Claire always felt a link towards both him and his twin sister Masami, but she liked playing with Issei the most. She enjoyed her time with him. Her heart started to warm and was greatly saddened when she had to return back. It felt like her old life was returning, and it did, to some extent. She rebuffed any advances, and the good thing is that her power was ultimate class, resulting in many of the devils avoiding her for her hand in marriage. Those that did were rejected on the spot. However, when she heard that Riser had met Issei, her heart once again started to feel warm. She wanted to know where he was, but couldn't, since she did not know if Issei would remember or even know her, which he sort of didn't, but he eventually did. She was happy that he remembered her, and was ecstatic when Issei let her stay with him, in his room. Issei. Claire. Issei kept his hand, making the girl jolt, as he spoke in worry. Issei. What happened? Why are you so sad? Claire. Nothing, it's just I was remembering my past. Claire gave a sad smile towards Issei. Issei. Why? Did something happen? Issei asked in concern. As Claire smiled, she knew that Issei always cared for her and will care for her, as Claire spoke. Claire. Nothing. Now let's go, we are getting late. That is when she heard a knock, as Asia spoke. Asia. Issei. Claire. Breakfast is ready, come downstairs. Issei. Asia. Claire. Asia, give us a moment, we will be there. Asia opened the door, seeing Claire and Issei on the same bed. Although they still had clothes, she had a jealous blush accompanied by a sad look as Issei speaks. Issei. This is not what it looks like. Asia. I am not gonna be left behind. Asia exclaimed as she closed her eyes. She then jumped on Issei's bed as she climbed onto his chest. Claire's eye twitched at this as Issei sighed. He hoped that these two would just get along. Issei sat beside with Claire and Asia sitting beside him as they eat their breakfast. His parents were surprised as to Issei sat beside them. Even Masami was surprised to see Issei. Boru. Say, Claire, how are your parents doing? Claire. They are doing fine, they wanted to meet you sometime in the future. Nikki. Oh, I would love them to be here, we don't mind chatting like we did back all those years ago. Claire chuckled as Issei watched her being happy. He managed to keep his self-control given his past with his parents. As long as Claire and Asia were happy, it didn't matter. They chatted for a while, with Masami asking her to play with her sometime in the future. The trio then eventually left and headed to school, and since it was Claire's first day, they didn't want to be late. She would be in the same class as Issei and Asia are. Scene change. Issei, Asia and Claire reach school as Claire asks. Claire. So this is Kuo Academy? Issei. That's correct, princess, you will be known as the 5th most popular girl. Claire. Why is that? Asia answered with a wry smile and a sweat drop. Asia. Well, it's because your beauty is on par with Ria's GREMORY or Akeno Himejima, so yeah, you might as well be. Claire. I see. Issei. And some students may look at you in a slight. Claire. Perverted manner. I know that. But I can't change that side, they are teenagers after all, their hormones are off the charts during this time of their lives. Claire knew that unlike devils, humans have control over their desires, so she knew that they would not do something like immediately ask her hand for marriage. They might ask for a date, or she might get a confession. But those can be turned down. It would hurt the human, but he should eventually grow out of it. Issei. Anyways, let's get you in, you may need to meet up with Sona for your schedule. Claire. Very well. Asia. I hope Mitsuda and Motohama are fine, they have been nice to you, despite their well. Issei. I will talk to them, worry not. Asia nods. Issei cared for those two, despite their perversion. They stood by Issei's side before Asia came into his life, or before he reunited with Claire. Issei and the two girls entered into the student council as Sona greeted her. Sona. Lady Claire. Claire. Just call me Claire here, Sona. Claire responded with a smile as Sona spoke. Sona. Very well, here is your schedule and your new uniform, you may try it out, and you will be in the same class as Issei and Asia is. Claire nods as she leaves, leaving Asia, Sona and Issei in the same room as Issei asks. Issei. So how does it feel to lead the entire Kuo town? Sona. Aside from huge amounts of paperwork, I don't think that is a problem. Issei. So how is Ria's taking it? Sona. Not happy, she hates you even more, she might try something risky. Issei. Let her try, Lord Beelzebub told that she will suffer even more. Asia. And her time in human world in Japan will be even more less. Sona sighs and speaks. Sona. That's true. Asia. Speaking of which, who do you think will take Ria's role? Sona. I have a feeling that Claire would be doing it. Issei. I see. Sona. Anyways, you two need to get going, you two have classes. The duo nod as they head to their class. Issei decides to speak to Motohama and Mitsuda sooner than before. He was considering bringing them into the supernatural as soon as possible. Scene change. Issei and Asia sat on their bench, with Mitsuda and Motohama joining them soon. They greet each other as Mitsuda asks. Mitsuda. Say, who do you think the new student is? Issei. I think it is a girl. Guys, for your own safety try to keep your perversion down. She really does not like it. Motohama. Oh, that's good, I will finally get a girlfriend. Motohama exclaimed in happiness as Issei sighed. He did not want to dash his hopes into the ground since Claire will not like him as Mitsuda speaks. Mitsuda. Either way, what are you planning to do next? After college? Issei. First thing is to get away from this town as far as possible and start a new life somewhere else. Asia. And I will be with him to take care of him. Mitsuda. Anyways, you better keep in touch with the two of us. Motohama. Yeah, we will miss you. Speaking of which, I see those two girls glaring at us. I don't know why. The four look towards the duo of the girls glaring at him as Issei speaks. Issei. They have no work other than to make people's lives a living hell. Motohama. That's true, women like them make genuine women who suffer from actual sexual assault seem fake, nobody believes them as a result, I pity them. Mitsuda. Me as well, and as boys we are generally looked as powerful, and society doesn't want us to hurt women even thought they will give a blind eye to them beating us to near death. Sorry Asia. Asia. No worries, even I wasn't aware of this false accusations are really being a problem. Issei. Anyways, the teacher is here. The four stop talking and head back to their seats as the teacher, who was a new teacher, Issei and Asia, sensed that she was a reincarnated devil. She was a tall and beautiful fair-skinned young woman with wavy, hip-length blonde hair, large light blue eyes, long legs, and a curvy figure. She wore a white shirt with an underneath black-in shirt, which displayed her curvaceous figure. She wore a tight pants, which lead all the way to her calves. Many of the males blushed at the woman, as she looked like a straight model figure. Issei then spoke softly. Issei. It seems like she is the one sent by Ajuka. Asia. Yeah. Even I sense it too. Hello everyone, I will be your new substitute teacher. My name is Irina Jelavic, and before you ask I am from Serbia. The class cheered as Irina sighed at this. She was sent by the Devil King Ajuka himself, since she could easily knock out a high or even a low class ultimate class devil quickly before they can sense or react. She was chosen given her ability to be undetected, unless you are really able to sense someone's presence. She mentally glared at the students while having an annoyed smile towards the students. After a while, she spoke. Irina. Now settle down. Before we begin, there is a transfer student that is from Italy, now please welcome her with open arms. The boy saw a beautiful woman with blonde hair show up. She wore traditional Kuo uniform like the rest of the girls. Claire. Good morning everyone, my name is Claire Phoenix and I am from Italy. It is nice to meet all of you. The boys erupted in cheers as Claire continued. Irina. Miss Claire, take a seat next to whoever you prefer. Claire walked past the boys and took a seat right next to Issei, on Asia's other side. This caused an uproar in the class. Many of the boys cursed Issei, as some hated the now newest queen, from sitting near a boy known to assault women. However, a glare from Issei silenced most of the boys up. Even the teacher silenced the remaining students, since they were not expecting the Claire to sit right next to someone known to do such heinous acts. Claire. Say Issei, why do these students hate you? Issei. It's a long story. But these students hate me because of a false rumor, just know this for now. Claire nods, as she would get to the bottom of this. Asia. Anyways, let's focus of the class. Issei. True. Irina continued teaching as Issei, and the others were bored as hell, as they all were trying their best not to sleep. Scene change. Mitsuda. So how did you meet such a beauty like Claire? Issei. It's a long story, we were childhood friends, and now she is in my school. Motohama. Dude, you must be really lucky to have two girls fawning over for you. And here we are not getting any girls. Motohama spoke with a sad tone as Issei consoled him and spoke. Issei. So do you wish to get girls? Mitsuda. Yeah, can you tell us? Mitsuda asked in an excited tone as Issei spoke. Issei. First give up peeping on women. Motohama and Mitsuda exclaimed in horror as Motohama spoke. Motohama. What? Mitsuda. You are telling us to give up on our perversion. Issei, you are a bro, we never expected you to ask us to give up that. Issei. I never said that, when you peep on women, you give a viewing as being a creep, and trust me, people don't like creeps, especially women, never give up on your perversion, I never said that. You will only get into further trouble if you continue peeping, that's all. And if you are wondering about perversion, then all the boys and many girls are like that. The boys looked at Issei as a sort of a leader as they spoke in honor while rubbing their eyes, tearing up. Mitsuda. Dude. Motohama. You have opened our eyes, we will try not to peek. Issei. That's more like it, try, and eventually you may get a girlfriend in the future. That is when the two girls come, Claire and Asia, show up. Claire was being annoyed by those girls time and time again. They tell things that Issei is a sex offender and many more things that she does not believe them, and it took Asia to control her from doing something reckless. Claire. Hey boys. Claire greeted them as Mitsuda and Motohama spoke in unison. Mitsuda and Motohama. Claire-sama. Claire smiled as she responded. Claire. It's just Claire, relax, just think of me as a friend. Issei. Claire is right. We are friends after all. Issei spoke as Mitsuda and Motohama cheered. They all sat near a bench, the five of them, as they enjoyed their meal, as Claire asked. Claire. Issei, please now can you tell me, why do many students hate you? In this school. Issei. Alright. It's a long story, but it was all because of two girls. They are Youkai and Kaori Murayama. They are the reason why the student body, except for a select few. They framed me for acts like rape, sexual assault, to even outright beating up, and to top it all off, the principal believed them every time. They even went so far to fake proof in order to make others believe them. Issei told about the past. As everyone was silent, Asia looked sadly towards him, as Mitsuda and Motohama clenched their fists in anger, while Claire was silent as he spoke. Issei. I understand if you don't believe me, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. Issei was unable to complete as Claire brought him close to her and embraced him and sniffled. Her eyes were watery as she spoke. Claire. You have suffered a lot, haven't you? Sniff. I believe you, Ice, I trust you are not a man to do such acts. I have lived with you for a day, and you are a good man, if not a man with a good heart. You prevented Riser from being like them. The world may not believe you, but I trust you. Issei. Claire. They stayed like this, as the rest of the three smiled at this. The good thing is that there was no one present in the room to see or record this. Issei returned the embrace. They stayed like this for a while, as they eventually split up after a while. Claire. Say Issei, if those girls ever harass or frame you, I will certainly teach them a lesson, and that is a promise. Issei. I know. I know. Speaking of which, what do you want to eat? Claire. I have never tried to have Japanese food, I might as well try some of that. I am used to having so much Italian that I have never had Japanese food. Issei. Well then let's go and have some food then. The five then proceed to have some food as they have a good time conversing with each other. Claire also got along relatively well with Mitsuda and Motohama. When they were not talking perverted, they decided to not talk so that they don't give Claire a terrible impression. Scene change. Himscoop brought to you by Chibi. Claire viewing Chibi Mitsuda's and Chibi Motohama's magazine stack while the boys watch in horror. The Cult Research Club room, 4:30 p.m. Riaz was sitting on the desk. She had gotten a notice from Sona that the Occult Research Club will be taken down and she would only be a part of the GREMORY family and no longer its heir. The Keno and Kaneko were sitting on each of the couches, devastated on the news. They will never be able to enter the human world again, unlike Rainer, who can still do but under heavy supervision, and Kiba, who can stay without any issues. A Keno then spoke. The Keno. President, what do we do now? Kaneko. That pervert, he ruined everything. The Keno. But then again, we did things we shouldn't have. We used him, manipulated him, and toyed with his emotions. We should have left him alone. Kaneko. If we had let him die, then none of this would have happened. The Keno. Even then. Sai, we broke the rules. At the very least we can stay for 6 months. Kaneko nods. She hated Issei even more now. Riaz then spoke while getting up. Riaz. What is done is done. Both Issei and Rainer have betrayed us. Kiba has left us, and there is nothing we can do, no matter what happens. Riaz looked upon the land, tears in her eyes. She wanted a normal happy life. She manipulated Issei for this reason. She did not want to marry Riser. As a result she became desperate, and she let Issei die, for her to gain the Red Dragon's eternal loyalty. In the end, Riaz got her wish, but at what cost? She has lost everything. She lost her heir status. Her life in the human world is as good as gone, and all because she let Issei be into her peerage. She then sensed Grafia in her maid costume as she spoke. Grafia. Lady Riaz, Lady Akeno, Lady Kaneko, it is time, you must come back. Riaz wanted to argue, but Grafia was not having it. As Riaz walked she thought angrily. Riaz. Issei Haidu, I will make you pay. If it is the last thing I do. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei trying to figure out 9 plus 10, while Chibi Claire calls him stupid. Abandoned church, 9:30 p.m. The church where Issei had learnt the truth about his reincarnation into a devil, the same abandoned church where Riaz was exposed by Rainer. Two people are entering a church. They seem like exorcists. They visit the church again, as it brought some memories back to one of the entities. Well, it seems like the fallen angels that have used the base have been killed. 2. That seems so true if the feathers were a big giveaway. The girl who was a pigtailed orange girl was touching a feather. As she did, she analyzed the area. The other girl, who was a short-haired orange girl, noticed some sort of aura, and this was not the devil aura she had sensed. Demon? 2. What do you mean? I believe there are demons here. The blue-haired girl thinks that there were demons here, however the other girl, as the orange girl states. 2. You are being too paranoid, demons have gone into hiding ever since our god murdered that bastard Zalgo. Anyways, why are you excited to come here? Do. Oh, it's simple. The orange pig-tailed girl speaks while removing an image revealing 4 people herself and 3 others. I am here to meet my childhood friends, Masami and Riser. 2. But the images shows another brown-haired child, who is he? Oh, that's Issei, we were friends, but not as close as the other 2, I wish to meet him as well, truth is that he was the one that introduced me to Masami, and after that we became friends. I see. Anyways, let's find a place to stay the night, we need to meet the devils in our town, and give them our orders from our superiors. Previously we saw Issei wake up from yesterday of having to deal with the court trial that was yesterday as he did, he fell on something soft, this was revealed to be Claire Phoenix, as she pulled him, Issei woke her up as he was suffocating, both wake up blushing after this, as Claire remembers her past on how she was only seen as a piece of meat by many of the devils. But she knew Issei was different from the others, as she responded to a concerned Issei, Asia knocks the door and sees a sort of moment, as she rushes towards him in jealousy, she also hugs him, as the trio then head down to have their breakfast. After which the group heads to school, as they do they are greeted by Sona Citri, as she gave Claire the schedule, she then heads to the dressing room to get dressed, as Issei and Sona discuss on the current situation, Sona warns Issei that Riaz would be taking her revenge sometime soon, as Issei nods. The group then head to their classes where they meet up with Mitsuda and Motohama, there they discuss the new student, as well as on what their current stance should be in this school, they knew that those 2 girls might try something, they should be more alert. As the new teacher introduced herself as Irina Jelavic, she then introduced the new student that being Claire Phoenix, who went to sit aside Issei and his friends, much to the anger of all the students, the school then settled down, as Claire asked Issei about what had happened. As they head to the cafeteria, the boys exclaim their jealousy of Issei getting 2 babes, and ask him on how they can themselves get their own girlfriends. Issei convinced them one that they need to give up on peeping, or at least try to give up on peeping, as they were then joined by both Claire and Asia, with the former wanting to know about why the school body hated Issei. Issei then revealed everything to his friend, who was shocked and devastated at this, Claire immediately embracing him, telling him that she trusts him more than anything else, and she will protect him while she is here. After splitting, the group has their lunch and they all enjoy a good day together. Back at the Orc the remaining girls are contemplating their actions, as they notice Grafia asking them to head back, with Riaz vowing to take revenge against Issei one day. 2 individuals head to the abandoned church, they were 2 girls with one of them being Issei's childhood friend, however she seemed to be not as close as her other friends, she was happy meeting all 4 of them though. Issei woke up the next day, he tried to find out who the voice was which was sounded yesterday night when he had heard from Drag, he was unable to find who it is, but he found some clues, this dragon was definitely not Tiamat making Drag breathe a sigh of relief. Issei knew that it was a blue dragon that was the one behind that aura, he needed to be careful with what happens next, he tried to deduce the amount of dragons that were blue in color, with the 3rd heavenly dragon being one of them. 0, the heavenly ice dragon, was a huge blue dragon, almost the same size of Drag, however her ice breath is known to freeze even the mightiest of the gods, including the souls. Issei. Hey Drag, are you sure that it was 0? Drag. Yes, I am, I know that aside from Tiamat and 0, there are only 2 dragons that have such an aura, I think it is her. Zalgo. Are you 100% sure about this? Drag. Yes I am, we need to be careful. I have a feeling that she must be contacting your sister right now, there is no telling what she is now, or what her intentions are now. Issei. I don't know about eliminating her. What if she is innocent? Zalgo. I hope, if she is innocent, then we will be no different from that crow. But aside from that I have a feeling that the 3rd heavenly dragon will show up. Issei. Drag, can you tell me about this 0? Or how strong she is? Drag. Partner, 0 was as strong as me and Albion at our primes. Hell, she could match with us if she wanted to, she was an ice dragon, unlike me who is a fire dragon, she has an ice breath that could easily turn the mightiest of gods into popsicles, such that they are unable to move for all eternity, once a victim becomes ice. A simple break can shatter not only the victim, but also completely destroy the souls. She could easily break the factions if she wanted to, but she was a pacifist, she hated killing or hurting innocents. And like Albion and me, she developed a new ability, Breach, which can infiltrate a target's defenses and cause internal damage, which means an attack can injure the insides of a target, 0 can use that to freeze the victim's heart and brain, causing them to die a horrible death. Issei was surprised at this, as he needed to be careful from what he needs to do next. Issei. So what do we do now? Greg. I would suggest we wake up, I have a feeling that today would be an interesting day. Issei did so, and he saw Claire and Asia taking one side of his arm. Issei did not feel much given his training, but he did sense some breathing, as Issei spoke. Issei. Girls. Claire rubs her eyes and she speaks in a weak tone. Claire. Morning. Issei. Issei. Morning to you too, Claire. Say, why are the two of you hugging my arms? Asia was the next to wake up as she also rubs her eyes. She greets the two morning as Claire responds. Claire. We both were unable to sleep, so we decided to take your hand as a pillow. Asia. That's true, we were able to sleep once we slept near you. Issei. That's some explanation, I guess. Both Zalgo and Drake were both laughing at this, as Issei looks away with a sly smile. Getting a harem was something he was not expecting. Either way, he was alright with this. The girls then get ready, have their food and eat their food. Issei, Claire and Asia are having their lunch. Since Mitsuda and Motohama were busy with their club activities, Issei gets a message from Sona directly, stating, come to the office and bring Claire and Asia with you. A demon is waiting for you, and he states his name to be Lord X. Claire looks at Issei and asks, Claire, something wrong? Issei, not much. Sona has called us to the club room. It seems like she has something to share with us. Asia, should we go? Issei, I think so, this is important and something is going on. Claire, alright then, let's go. If Sona needs all of us and if one of your demon friends is waiting for you, then we need to go. Issei, well then, it is decided, we will go once we finish our lunch. Scene change. Student council room, 1:45 p.m. Issei, Claire and Asia head to the student council room where they see Sona and Lord X waiting for them there as Lord X greets Issei. Lord X. Issei, sorry for interrupting your time at school, I hope you weren't too busy. Issei. It's fine X, either way why did you call us here? Lord X. I believe Lady Sona would answer that. Sona then speaks up saying. Sona. Thank you Lord X. Now as I was saying, today while me and Tsubaki were on our rounds at the campus, we had a run-in with two exorcists that were sent by the Vatican Church here at the school grounds. Issei flinched when he heard exorcists. Even Zalgo angrily growled at their mere presence, as despite their calm expressions, Issei was sort of angry. The memories were fuzzy, but he had remembered that Zalgo was killed by the biblical god. However, he took a deep breath and calmed down. Issei. So. Why they were here? Sona. They will be telling us that tomorrow. Aside from that, I feel like there is a really important reason as to why they were here. We need to be careful, and needless to say, we should be careful on what we do next, especially you Claire. I have warned Riaz as well, and I hope that she heeds my warning. Issei spoke slowly, before turning his attention to Lord X. Issei. Well I hope not. Either way X, why are you here? Lord X. The exorcists nearly had attacked me upon sensing me. Needless to say, I left her with some burn marks that will last for a very long while. Zalgo internally cheered for Lord X. Zalgo. Good job. Lord X rubbed his head as Asia, Claire and Sona sweat dropped towards him. He looks away making a wry smile. Issei then speaks with a sigh. Issei. X, they are just humans, you need to be careful, one wrong move, and it is a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Lord X. Sigh, I know, but even then I hate those angels. They say that they are doing good, but how hypocritical their statements are. They are nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. Lord X spoke in an annoyed yet passive-aggressive tone. Issei wanted his memories as soon as possible. He wanted to know why the demons hate the angels so much. He had an idea that it was Zalgo's death, but he couldn't come to conclusions as of yet. Lord X. Either way, she should be recovering for now, she is really hot-headed. Issei. Alright. I don't hold it against you. But thanks for informing us X, Sona. The duo nodded with a smile, and Lord X teleported back to his dimension. Sona then spoke. Sona. Thank you Issei, anyways you should go to your class, and let me know if any of you get anything on those two exorcists. Issei nods as the trio leave. Sona then takes a chess piece and speaks. Sona. I wonder if Issei would fancy a game. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Sona trying to read Chibi Issei's mind, while Chibi Lord X changes connections. Outside Haidu residence, 6:30 p.m. The trio finished their school and head home. It did not help that many of the girls were still desperately trying to get Claire away from Issei, since she was considered the third Kuo beauty. Claire. Those girls are really getting on my nerves. Claire exclaimed while rubbing her head, as Asia spoke. Asia. I know right, Issei, how in hell do you three deal with those girls? Issei. It's simple, we just avoid them at every step, and the girls don't even try to bother us given our reputation. Claire sighs and responds. Claire. Your school is really something. Not gonna lie, it's wild. Issei. I know, Claire, I know. Issei and Claire then sensed a holy presence as he and Claire put their hands on guard. Issei. You sensed that too, didn't you? Claire. Yep. Those are exorcists, why are they in our house? Asia. what's going on? Issei turned his attention to Asia and spoke. Issei. It seems like we have some uninvited guests in our house. Claire, be prepared. Claire did so, she had activated her gem and prepared it to use it in case a fight would happen. The trio then headed inside their house to be greeted by two girls sitting on the couch, they were in white robes. Mickey greeted the trio. Hi Claire, Issei, it's been a while. Issei. Who are you? Don't you recognize me Issei? Issei. No I doubt I. Do I know you? Issei thinks well Claire facepalms and makes a sigh as she thinks. Claire. This is so familiar. But she does look familiar. Could it be? The girl then pouted and spoke. Don't you remember me, Issei, it's me Irina. Your sister recognized me as soon as possible. Masami. That's true, you didn't forget your childhood friend, did you? Issei. Irina. Wait I thought you were a boy, like Riser was. Irina pouted and made a blush as Claire responded. Claire. Me too, even I thought she was a boy. Irina. Not you too Claire. But I don't blame you, I was quite boyish back then. Masami. Well that is true. Irina and Masami chatter like old friends, however Issei was not focused on that, he was focused as to why the other girl looked as if she should not be here. She glared at the inhabitants of the house, but especially Claire and Issei. Issei also noticed the burn marks on her body, implying that it was her that had attacked Lord X and got folded. Issei noticed the blue-haired girl glaring at him as he spoke. Issei. So care to tell me why you are glaring at us, blue hair? The girl suddenly lost her glare as she spoke. Nothing. Nothing much. The girl couldn't tell that her house was inhabited by an ultimate class devil, she needed to be careful since Irina's childhood friend's mother's house was inhabited by an ultimate class devil and two demons. Issei. So blue hair, do you have a name or something? Even if I did, why should I tell someone like you? The blue-haired girl exclaimed as many looked surprised at her actions. Irina then apologized as she spoke. Irina. I am sorry she had a confrontation with someone this morning, hence why she is moody. Her name is Zenobia Quarta, and we have come together here for some work. Issei. I see. Well just trying to be friendly. Issei spoke with a shrug, he knew that she was the one who attacked X, as Irina got up and spoke. Irina. I think we shall take our leave, it was nice meeting you Ms. Haidu. Mickey. It was too Irina, I hope to see you again. Masami. Yeah, see you Irina. Irina. Indeed it was nice seeing you Masami, Claire. You too Issei. Irina and Zenobia headed to the door, as the duo did, they waved their goodbye to the group. Issei noticed that Irina did not make as much eye contact as she did towards him as she did towards her sister, he assumed that it was just his thoughts. As they left the three headed to Issei's room to discuss some things. Claire. So those two were the exorcists Sona talked about? Issei. Yeah, and Zenobia was the one that attacked X, I am definitely gonna have a talk with her the next day. Asia. Ice, calm down, I doubt she meant it. Claire. Well either way, we might have a chat with them the next day, so you can handle her the next day. Issei. Okay. Speaking of which, why do I have a feeling that Irina treat me with not as much friendliness as she did towards Masami? Issei felt a bit sad as Claire spoke. Claire. Ice, come on, I highly doubt that Irina is someone like that. Issei. I hope so, I hope so. Claire then changed into her night suit using her magic and jumped on Issei's bed as Issei asked. Issei. Claire. Claire. What? Issei. This is my bed. Claire asked in a confused voice. Claire. So? Issei. So why are you sleeping here? Claire. Because I like to, didn't I tell you? Issei sighed. He remembered what Claire had said today morning, he couldn't refuse her, since he did not want to be sad. Claire then spoke with a seductive smile. Claire. Won't you join me, Ice? Issei blushed as Asia glared at Claire. Issei, Claire. Claire lost her smile and pretended to become sad as she speaks. Claire. So you don't want to sleep with me? Issei moved his hand sideways as he spoke. Issei. No. That's not what I meant. Sigh fine, I will sleep with you Claire. Issei made a wry smile as she resumed her happy look. Asia then spoke. Asia. Then I will also sleep next to you. Claire responds with a taunting smile. Claire. Oh my, seems like the nun has become bold. Asia. I will not lose. Not to you, Claire Wani-sama. Asia gives a defiant look as she takes the other side. The two girls leave a space for Issei as he sleeps at the center. Both the girls cling to Issei's hands as they sleep with a blush. Issei looks at the girls with a blush. Two blonde girls are trying to go for him. Issei promised that he would protect the two of them at all costs. Scene change. Masami's mindscape, 1 AM. Masami was sleeping in her room. As she wakes up, she sees that she was in an icicle mindscape as she thinks. Masami. Where the hell am I? Masami walks ahead as she wonders where she is. She sees around that she is in what seems to be a frozen hellscape, almost akin to a place like the Arctic regions. She then encounters a light blue dragon with wings almost the size of huge trees. It had scales made of pure ice as she looks down on her new host. So you're my host. The dragon boomed as she did. Masami fell back out of fear. The dragon huffed and then spoke. I am sorry for scaring you. I didn't mean it. The dragon looked away in embarrassment and sadness as Masami speaks. Masami. No. It's fine, it is the first time meeting a dragon up in person. The dragon then spoke. Apologies for my actions, my name is Zero, and I am the third heavenly dragon. And I am your partner, young girl. Masami looked in awe, she then pinched herself, feeling slight pain, as Zero spoke. Zero. You are in your mindscape, young girl. Masami. I see. So why are you with me? Zero. You see, it's a long story. I ended up being killed by many supernatural beings, mostly members of the three factions out of fear, and that is how I ended up in a sacred gear, which you currently wield. Masami. Supernatural. I don't understand. Zero sighs and explains the supernatural race, as she was surprised they lived among this world. Zero also explains that she does not remember her past properly, but she did remember that she was killed indirectly because of what Drake and Albion did. They hunted her down and killed her. Ever since she has been asleep until she was awakened in Masami. Masami felt pity for the dragon, as she did not seem like a bad person, as Masami speaks. Masami. So they have been living among us. Zero. That is correct, young lady, besides I never got your name. What is it? Masami. My name is Masami Haidu, it is nice to meet you, Zero. Masami then told the inhabitants of the house, as Zero was surprised that a devil is living among them, as she speaks. Zero. Well, it is nice to meet you too, Masami. Either way, the supernatural has been living in your house, there are already 3 living right now. Masami was surprised, she wondered who could it be, as Zero speaks. Zero. If you are wondering who they are, it is that Phoenix girl Claire, the nun Asia, and your twin brother Issei Haidu. They are part of it, and your twin wields the boosted gear, the gear that houses Drake, a fire dragon on par with me. Masami was shocked even further, as her brother was wielding a power as strong as her. It did not help that her brother has intense dislike for her and her family. Masami. So what do you want me to do now? Zero. I would suggest to stay put or talk to your brother about this, try to convince that you are not an enemy, since Drake must have told him about me. Masami nods, as they then cut off their connection and go to sleep. Scene change. Guo outskirts, 1 AM. Kiba was walking to his house, he had some work with his clients, before heading to his apartment. As he did, he saw a priest who begged. Priest. Please help me. Kiba tried to rush to his aid, wondering what happened, however before he could he was stabbed in the back by another yet familiar priest, as he looked at him with an evil grin. Kiba recognized the priest as Fried Selzen. Kiba. Fried. Fried was described to be a man in his 20s, he was a young man with short white hair and red eyes. As a priest, he was dressed in clerical clothing and often had a disturbing smile on his face. Fried. Yahuo. If it isn't the shitty devil. Kiba got on his stance as Fried revealed a sword, and this was an Excalibur which Kiba recognized. As he got even more angry, Fried then spoke. Fried. It seems like you recognize the sword, judging by your expression, and I will enjoy killing you, you shitty devil. But that Fried rushed towards Kiba, as he fought against him. Kiba blocked several strikes towards him, he parried every strike as Fried responded with an uppercut. Kiba jumped back, as Fried rushed towards him, and slashed him in the stomach, making Kiba scream in pain. Kiba. Ai. Fried. Well, how does it feel, shitty devil? Getting struck by the Excalibur, a weapon that can slay monsters like you. It burns, doesn't it? I will enjoy killing you. Fried tried to rush towards Kiba, however his phone rings, he then speaks. Fried. Hello. You want me to show up, boss? Oh, alright. Fried disconnected the call and speaks. Fried. You are lucky that my boss needs me. Until next time, devil. Fried waves goodbye and flashbangs out of there, as Kiba helplessly rushes towards him. He needed to speak to Claire Sona about this before it is too late. Previously we saw Issei trying to analyze who the blue dragon was. It had to be Zero, since Tiamat is still alive, as well as she is not around here somewhere. Hence he was able to deduce that Zero was with his sister, albeit in the form of the sacred gear. He wondered what it was, as he saw that Claire and Asia had taken 1 arm each. He, upon inquiring, came to know that they felt comfortable sleeping next to him. Issei then woke up as the trio headed to school. Once they reach school they discuss on their classes, however Sona gives the trio a call. As they head to the council room, there they see Lord X, as the duo have some news for them. Sona reveals that there have been 2 exorcists that have visited the town of Kuo, and they will talk to her the next day, and they should be present. Lord X reveals that one of the attacked him only for her to get backfired, as she gets easily defeated. Issei and the other girls agree to do this. The trio then head back for their classes, as Lord X enters back to his dimension. As they head home, Claire gets annoyed by the ever-persisting presence of the girls who are lying to her every single day. As Asia agrees with her wholeheartedly, Issei deals with them by simply ignoring him. As they head back, they send someone inside the house, someone holy element. As they rush inside, the exorcists are revealed to be Irina and Zenobia. At first Issei and Claire fail to do so, however when Masami informs them about her, as they greet each other, Irina and Zenobia leave the house. As Issei ponders on what happens, during the interaction Irina did not talk as much as Issei did, however Claire dismisses that something is wrong with the situation, and tells him that he is worrying about this too much. As Claire changes to her night suit and sleeps on the bed, Asia follows suit as the duo ask Issei to sleep with them, he accepts. Meanwhile Zero finally gets to meet Masami as they interact with each other, as Masami is informed about the 3 factions including of her fate, as well as about her other 2 dragons, Drake and Albion, as Zero further reveals the supernatural. She is shocked that one of her friend and one of her family members are one of them. It did not help that Issei immensely disliked his family, as she hoped that she could solve things before it is too late. Meanwhile, as Kiba was returning back home, he encountered an old adversary in the form of Fried, however he lost, but before he could be killed, Fried escaped as Kiba was left alone. He could only warn Sona and Claire, before it is too late. Issei woke up along with the girls by his side. He was planning to tell Claire about him being the reincarnation of Zalgo tonight itself. In addition he was planning to get another demon by his side. He was thinking about someone named Slenderman. But in addition he was looking forward for the meeting. He only hoped that someone does not ruin it. Zalgo. So you have decided to tell her about it? Issei. Yeah. I see no reason to hide it, besides I trust her, with my life, she is one of the few I can have my trust towards. Drake. Well, all the best partner. Issei nods, as Drake and Zalgo notice that it is almost similar to a confession. Well they also notice that Claire has some feelings towards him, and same went for the nun. It is just that Issei is too oblivious to notice them. That is when Issei sensed someone at the doorbell. As Masami came to accept the person, she was surprised to see Kiba here. Masami. Hello Udo. What brings you here? Kiba. I am here to see your brother, is he here? Zero telepathically spoke to Masami. Zero. He is also a devil, be careful. Masami mentally nods, as she calls her older brother from inside. As Issei approached her, he noticed a sudden shift in his sister's attitude. He narrowed his eyes, as his suspicion was right. She wields the sacred gear housing Zero. Issei. So what brings you here, Kiba? Kiba. Well, I wanted to talk to you and Claire, I hope you two are not busy. Issei. No we are not, we are anyway leaving, so how about we walk to school, and do our talk? Kiba. Well sounds good to me. Masami went inside, as she was not done changing. As this was going on, Issei constantly kept an eye on his sister. If she were to become a threat, he will not hesitate to subdue her. Issei. So what do you want to talk about? Issei, Claire, Asia and Kiba were all heading to school, as Kiba then spoke. Kiba. You remember Fried? Issei. Of course I remember that bastard, why? Kiba. He attacked me last night. The group's eyes minus Claire who was unaware, widened as they turned their attention to him. Issei asks why, as Kiba continues on what happened. Kiba. Apparently someone whom he calls boss is the one who called him back, now who is this boss? Claire thinks for a moment, as she was confused. Claire. Who is this Fried? Issei. A psychotic priest who loves killing devils and monsters, even innocent ones. Asia. He was once with me, I did not know his true nature, when I did, he nearly tried to assault me as well. Claire. I see. Kiba. Either way, be alert, he has been killing other priests as well as many others, take him down if you encounter him. Issei. We will, and we want you to be there when the exorcists meet the devils tonight. Kiba. Why me? I am not part of the Citri peerage. Issei. You were attacked by a priest wielding an holy sword, you can help them with whatever they were here for. Kiba. I see. Very well I will come. Scene change. I'm Skip brought to you by Chibi Issei and Chibi Kiba, trying to work on a portal to head to the Monster Girl Encyclopedia. Council room, 5:30 p.m. The student council were on one side, standing, as Sona was seated on a couch, with Claire beside her. On the other side of the couch, was Irina and Zenobia. Issei, Asia and Kiba were sitting on the left side of Claire and Zenobia, as Claire then begins. Claire. Greetings, my name is Claire Phoenix and… Zenobia. We are not interested in small talk devil, we have a mission to do. Irina turns to Zenobia and exclaims as Claire is shocked by her being interrupted. Irina. Zenobia. Sorry she has always been like that. Claire. Issei is right. She is impulsive. Claire thought, being annoyed as she then spoke. Claire. Right, I and Sona were only introducing ourselves, but since you don't want that, we want to know why are you here. I am an ultimate class devil, and she is a high class devil. Sona. True, so what are your intentions? Zenobia. Well, I take it you are aware what a holy sword is, right? Zenobia then reveals a sword tied to a what seems to be a white colored cloth as she speaks. Zenobia. This is Excalibur Destruction. Irina then reveals a string next to her arm, stating. Irina. And this is Excalibur Mimic. Issei. Wait a minute, I thought all Excaliburs were one and one only. Claire. That it was, until it broke in the past. What remained was 7 fragments. I believe the church has all 7 of them, right? Zalgo then telepathically speaks. Zalgo. Heh. That god can't even take care of his own things. How pathetic. Issei mentally chuckled as Irina speaks. Irina. That's true, and but 3 of the fragments have been stolen. Claire. I see, so do you request our help in finding them? Zenobia. No, we want you to stay out of our way, we will handle it ourselves, and besides devils will do anything to get their filthy hands on those swords to destroy them. Claire got angry at Zenobia's dismissal as she spoke. Claire. Corda, I have been cordial with you despite your aggressive actions. Just because you have a weapon that can harm me on a physical level doesn't mean it can kill me. I can burn you alive in an instant and nobody would find your remains. Is that clear? Claire radiated her aura as Zenobia started to suffocate. Irina was also pale, who spoke. Irina. I am sorry, Zenobia did not mean it this way, please forgive her, she will not do it again. Claire sighs and lowers her aura. Sona sighed in relief as her aura could easily take down a human if she wanted to, as Claire spoke. Claire. Keep your subordinate's mouth on a leash, or something worse will happen. Irina. Alright, Zenobia, that's Claire Phoenix, one of the strongest ultimate class devils, she can take us out in an instant. Zenobia reluctantly nods, as Claire asks. Claire. Who do you think did all this, such that this hot-headed and you, Irina, are here? Zenobia grows a tick mark as Irina speaks. Irina. Well, the fallen angels have stolen our sword fragments, and we also know who took the swords, and it was Kakabiel, and that is when Ria's GREMORY appears, along with Akeno, Kaneko and Rainer, as she exclaims. Ria's. Why wasn't I invited? Sona. Because you are no longer the owner of this town, remember Lord Beelzebub's verdict? Ria's flinched as she glared at Issei, who flipped her off, angering her even more, but she could not do anything with people in this room that can kill her quite easily. Irina. Oh, where was I? Yeah, the swords were taken by Kakabiel, who was known as the Angel of Stars. He is the one who did that, he is the cadre of the fallen angels that stole our swords. Riaz was surprised, she had no idea this was going on, she knew that the exorcists had visited them, since she was spying on Issei using her familiar, as Claire spoke. Claire. So you are worried that we might work with the fallen angels, then you are wrong, we will never work with them, I will not ruin the Phoenix name, for that. Sona. I seconded that. Riaz. I third. Claire rebuffed, looking at her. Claire. Nobody asked you, GREMORY, go back to your club room. Claire commanded, as Riaz looked at her, however Claire glared at her, leaving no room for argument, she left along with the rest of her peerage. Leaving the group alone, the Citri peerage was quiet the whole time, as Sona spoke in an apologetic tone. Sona. I am sorry for her behavior. Irina. It's fine, thought I wonder what caused the heiress of GREMORY to be like that. The devils flinched, as they were aware, however Issei responds. Issei. It's a long story, let's leave it at that. Irina nods as the duo get up, with Zenobia speaking. Zenobia. Thank you for your time, we just want you to not get in our way while we are dealing with Kakabiel. Claire. Are you sure? He is as strong if not stronger than me. Zenobia. We would give our lives rather than give the swords to the fallen angels. Zalgo thought of the girls as pure idiots, as they would give their life to someone that is potentially dead. It seemed like they did not even care for 2 girls who deserve proper education right now. Claire also thought of them as something similar, but was deeply worried for Irina's sake. She knew that she was going to get herself killed, but she cannot convince Irina otherwise. Claire. These fools, Irina, I am sorry, your One-chan cannot protect you. I see. Well, your choice. I am not gonna stop you. Claire was worried for Irina, her foolish yet commendable devotion will get her killed, as Zenobia gets up and leaves along with Irina, she then glances at Asia and asks. Zenobia. Aren't you Asia, the holy maiden? Asia flinched as Issei glared at Zenobia, she then spoke. Asia. Yes. I am. Asia clenched her fist in anger, the fact that she was reminded of her past, she followed and believed in God, but he did not come, he never came, as Zenobia spoke. Zenobia. So Asia, do you still believe in God? Asia. I do not. Zenobia. What was that? Asia. No, I do not, he never came for me, I was nearly raped, I prayed to him, but he never came, I prayed to him and helped people every single day, and just because I healed a devil, I was declared a heretic and kicked out from my home, and then, I was manipulated by Rainer and her group. I no longer believe in someone that would abandon their own followers without hesitation, he never cared for me, so why should I believe in someone like him? Asia declared as Zenobia exclaimed. Zenobia. You, how dare you? Zenobia tried to strike her down, however Issei caught her hand as he pressed on it, making her scream in pain. Irina then spoke. Irina. Issei, let her go. Issei. Not until she apologizes, she nearly attacked an innocent person, a person who believes in righteousness, she needs to apologize, and then I will leave her. Zenobia kept screaming as Claire spoke. Claire. Ice, I know you are mad, but please, we are not here for a fight, I know you want to defend Asia, but please, let her hand go, I think she has suffered more than enough. Claire convinced him to let Zenobia go, as Issei sighed and let her go. Asia then healed her hand, as Zenobia angrily glared towards Issei, who spoke. Issei. Attack my friend again, and you will regret it. And besides, if you want to fight, let's take it outside. Kiba. I couldn't agree anymore. Zenobia then asked. Zenobia. Who are you? Kiba. Your senior. Scene change. Courtyard, Kuo Academy, 5:30 p.m. Issei and Kiba were on one side, while Zenobia and Irina had taken the other side, with both of them removing their cloaks and revealing a black bodysuit. They both wore crosses on their necks and held their swords in their arms. Issei. I will take care of Irina, can you handle Zenobia? Kiba. Leave it to me. Issei went after Irina as she dodged a punch courtesy of Issei, while Kiba activated his sacred gear, Sword Birth, as he took on Zenobia. Issei had chaos magic in his arms as he unleashed a chaos blast towards Irina, who deflected with her sword. Given the instability of the magic, it created a tremor near her. Irina. Chaos magic, how the hell did he get access to that? Issei could have ended the fight relatively easily, but he did not want to hurt his childhood friends. He then raised his hand and lifted her up in the air. Irina. Telekinesis. Irina thought in surprise as Issei blitzed and gave a severe gut punch towards her. Since she was unable to move, she coughed up, sending her flying. She managed to get back on her knees. As Issei responded with umbrakinesis. Issei used his shadow to bind Irina, disarming her immediately. As she struggled under its grasp, Issei flung her, smashing her near a tree. She managed to get her footing as Irina spoke. Irina. How in the hell are you able to learn 3 of the most rarest magic abilities? Issei. I trained myself, it's a long story, I believe that you should surrender, I don't want to hurt my childhood friend. Irina. Oh, I will not surrender, I will rescue my friend from the clutches of those devils. Irina exclaimed as the people present sweat dropped. However, before anyone could respond, Riaz and her peerage showed up minus Rainer and Kiba. She had some more people with her, and they both were the kendo duo. Riaz. Are you sure you want to take him to your side? Irina and Issei looked at him. Seeing her, Issei became angry, as he hates her more than anyone else, not to mention her bringing the kendo duo made things worse. This angered even Sona, Claire and Asia. Asia was furious seeing her. Irina. What are you talking about? Riaz. Oh, simple, the man who you are fighting was a sexual offender and a pervert and a harasser. Irina looked shocked, same with Zenobia. Issei got angrier by the second. Claire and Asia saw the smirk on Cadis and Murayama. Now this completely confirmed the rumors being false, and they were furious with the girls. It took everything for them to not massacre him right then and there. Riaz. Oh, don't buy my words, asked the girls, who have been affected. Both Zalgo and Drake were equally if not more mad at this. Kiba was disgusted at his master, and even Sona was horrified and shocked at how far Riaz has fallen, as Cadis spoke. Cadis. Riaz One-Isama is right. That man is a harasser, a rapist. He assaulted us right from primary school. Murayama. Kat is right, he even hurts us and takes our underwear and belongings. Cadis. And that's not all, he even hurts and injures us if he does not get his way. The girls complained as Irina asked with her hair covering her face. Irina. Is this true, Issei? Issei. No, it is not true. And before Issei could complete, Riaz spoke with a fake sadness. Riaz. Don't believe him, Irina, he is a liar and a deceiver and a trickster, he is the reason I lost everything, don't listen or hear him out. Sona. I can't believe you, Riaz. Sona thought while glaring at Riaz as Irina rushed towards Issei and slapped him hard on the face. Irina. Not a word from you, Issei. You rapist, cheater, deceiver. I should have never met you. The only reason I was even friends with you was because of your sister and Riser, otherwise I would have never been friends with you. Irina realized what she said as she kept her mouth. She then spoke. Irina. No, I did not mean the last part. Issei. Save it. I always had a feeling that you always cared for Masami, than me, or Riser, at least Riser sees me as a friend, you want to save me from the darkness, yet you yourself dabbled in it a long time ago, you are nothing but a hypocrite Arena, just like the faction you are serving. Issei turned to Sona and spoke. Issei. I forfeit. Issei then ran off, as Claire and Asia ran after him, Irina yelled his name begging him to wait, Kiba then spoke. Kiba. I forfeit as well. Kiba headed back to his dorm, but not before speaking to Rias. Kiba. You should be burning in hell. No, hell is too good for someone like you. You should be burning in heaven, you fucking slut. Kiba walked away as Rias, who was at first shocked but then became angry, as she yelled. Rias. Wait up. Kiba. However, Kiba had already left, as Sona was the next to approach her. As she did, Sona slapped her harder than what Irina did to Issei. She nearly fell to the ground holding her face, as a bright red mark formed on her face. Rias. Sona. Sona. Today, our friendship is over. You are no friend of mine. Never come into my office ever again, Rias GREMORY. You bring shame to the GREMORY name. You can go to hell for what you have done. And I will be telling Grafia about this. Sona exclaimed in fury, as she walked away. Most of the student council gulped. This is the first time she has ever been this angry. She then walked inside. She has gathered most of the evidence against the Kendo duo, and she will most likely expose them once she gets all of them. Scene change. Outside Issei's house, 6:30 p.m. Claire. Damn it. I hope we get there on time. Claire exclaimed in annoyance. Issei came out to be right, and she never wanted this to be true. She was planning to call Riser to inform about Irina's reality, but she waited since Issei was the first thing in mind. She never thought Irina would say such things. She not only believed in Issei's innocence from day one, but also trusted Issei as much as she did towards her family. Asia. True, let's go, the more we talk, the more we waste time. Claire nodded. She rushed to his house. The parents and Masami greeted them, but they ignored her and went inside. As they walked into his room, they opened the door. They saw Issei on his knees, in complete despair of what had happened. Issei then spoke with a growl. Issei. What do you want? Zalgo and Drake were silent. Issei hadn't been talking to them for an entire while. The revelation that Irina had used him was a huge slap to the face, literally and figuratively. Asia. We only want to talk, that's all. Issei. Leave me alone. Claire. Ice, please hear us out. Issei. I don't want to hear it. Claire and Asia flinched as Issei shouted. Issei. All my life, I have been harassed, tormented and humiliated by those two girls. Their existence is the reason for all my suffering. Even my own parents don't believe or trust me, they beat and abuse me every single day. They never loved me, even my own sister did not help her believe in me. All because of those girls. Issei shouted as Claire looked towards Asia, who nodded, giving her the answer she needed. She kept her hand in her mouth. His suffering was worse than she spoke while sealing the room and making sure no sound goes out. Claire. We care for you, not like them. Issei. Lies. The girls were taken aback as Issei cannot seem to trust anyone. He then spoke. Issei. Nobody loved me. Nobody cared for me. I was all alone. Nobody helped me against them, and those that did were helpless themselves. And then another bitch joined my life, Rias GREMORY. She made my life worse than before. Asia. That's not true, Issei, please listen to us. Issei then yelled in response. Issei. All because of my cursed life. I want to die. I don't want to live in this world anymore. Issei was about to plunge his own heart as Claire stopped him. She held his hand and spoke. Claire. Ice, these hands are the reason that gave me warmth. Let me tell you something of my past. I was wanted by many of the devils for my body, that's all, or sometimes my title. This made me have a heart of cold. Not even my family could thaw completely. That is when you came into my life. Your happy expression and your childish nature thawed my heart. You showed me what it feels like to be loved by someone who saw you as who you really are and not by your body or titles. Asia. Claire is right, and in my case, you are my first friend, the only one that truly cared for me. You gave me companionship in the form of demons, Herobrine, Purin, Lord X, MX and Hypno. They may be demons, but they are the first true family I have ever had and loved. You cried for me, twice. Nobody has ever done that for me, not even at the time during the church. You saved me from being enslaved permanently by a devil, by taking me in. I will be forever by your side, no matter what. Claire nods as she speaks. Claire. I shall follow you to the fire and brimstone until the very depths of hell itself. Even if the world speaks wrongly of you, I will stand up and tell them that they are wrong, tell them that how much of a wonderful person you are. Asia. That's true, you are not a cursed person, Issei, you never were, you had a good and kind heart despite what the world told about you. I will also follow you until the very end, no matter what happens, even if I were to fight God itself, I will love you no matter what happens. Issei then thinks. Issei. Those are the words I wanted to hear. I always wished for someone to say those words to me one day. Claire. Even if you don't trust anyone, I trust you, Ice, I trust you more than anyone else. It's because I love you more than anyone else. We love you more than anything or anyone else. Purin came out of the pokeball and approached him. She hugged his knee and cried in happiness. Asia smiled at this and spoke. Asia. You see, Purin trusts you. She knows you are the one that cared for me more than anyone else. I know I can trust you more than anyone else. I love you just like Claire does. We both love you, and you know it. Issei started to have tears fall down from his eyes as Claire brought him closer to her chest while Asia hugged his back. Claire then spoke. Claire. Let us share the pain you have suffered. We are with you, Ice. We always will be. Issei cried onto her chest as she closed her eyes and smiled as well. She and Asia hugged him close that night as Issei slept on her chest while crying. Claire then thought in sadness. Claire. Irina. I will not forgive you for what you did. Our relationship will never be the same from here on out. Previously we saw Kiba head towards the Haidu residence. As he did, he was greeted by his little sister Masami as she figured out that Kiba was a devil. He then greeted Issei as he wanted to have a talk with him and Claire. As they headed outside, Kiba revealed about the attack that had happened to him. Issei, on hearing this, asked him to head towards the student council to have a conversation about that. As time passed, Claire and the others along with the student council met up with Irina and Zenobia, who revealed that they were envoys of the church. As they did, they showed the swords that they have been carrying, both of which are Excalibur's fragments. Upon inquiring to them on what happened, they demanded the devils to not interfere. However, Claire wasn't going to take this disrespect as she radiated her aura, making Zenobia flinch. Irina apologized for her sake as she revealed about Kakabiel, which is when Riaz came in. Upon her inquiring, Sona and Claire asked her to leave as she reluctantly did so. After leaving, Irina continued speaking that this was Kakabiel's doing as she had requested the devils to let them handle them themselves. As the devils nodded, Zenobia then noticed Asia. Upon inquiring her about God, Asia responded that she no longer believes in him as she explained that even after praying to her, he never came, he never helped her. This angered Zenobia, but before she could do anything reckless, Issei came in and stopped her hand, almost crushing it, making her scream. He asked to apologize, albeit he had to leave her hand eventually. As Zenobia glared at Issei, Kiba suggested to fight against the two. The four then stand on opposing side as Issei takes on Irina. He used Umbrakinesis, Chaos Magic and Telekinesis, shocking Irina as she demanded to know. Issei asked to not fight as she exclaimed that she would save him. However, before she could respond, Riaz took her revenge by framing Issei. She brought two of the girls that harassed and tormented him. As proof, she tried to turn Irina against Issei. However, as Irina asked him, Riaz turned the tables by asking the girls convince Irina as she angrily yelled that she should have never met him and the only reason she met him was because of his sister, and when she realized this, she regretted it. Issei ran away forfeiting as Kiba and Sona were disgusted at her. Sona broke her friendship with her completely as Claire and Asia headed home, where they saw Issei broken. As they came by his side, they revealed that they loved him and cared for him more than anyone else. They cuddled him as Issei cried on her. Issei knew that he could trust the girls more than anyone else. Claire carried Issei to his bed as she slept with Issei tonight. She brought his head towards her chest as they slept together. Asia was also lifted by Claire as she hugged his back. Purin went inside her pokeball as even she needed to rest. Claire. Ice. I love you more than anyone else. I will trust and believe you, even if the whole world does not. Claire spoke softly while cuddling Issei's body as she looked at him with a smile. As she remembers what happened yesterday, it was almost like a nightmare. She could not imagine the suffering he went through after she left. A part of her believed she should have stayed back, at the very least for his sake, so that she could have helped him. She may be a devil, but unlike those devils, she is not vindictive and abusive like them. Claire. But then again, why Irina? Why did you have to do him like that? If you did not want to be his friend, then why toy with him? I can't believe you, what happened to you? But no matter, I will never forget what you did with him today. That is when a grunt was heard as the person spoke. Do you have a moment, Claire Phoenix? Claire turned her attention and it was Surzich's Lucifer, and he was smiling. He had received a call from Sona via Grafia, who had explained the situation. The disappointment he had for Riaz was immeasurable. The least he could do for him was apologize for his sister's actions. Claire immediately was startled as she pushed Issei off the bed. As Asia fell along with him, Issei fell a little bit further and was slightly injured as he spoke while drowsy. Issei. Ow. Claire, what was that for? Sees Surzich's Lord Lucifer. Asia also woke up as she also knew that she was pushed off the bed as she spoke. Asia. What happened? Asia also turned her attention to the crimson-haired man, but instead of wearing the Satan outfit he usually did, he wore a brown coat with a green tie and a white inshirt. He wore matching brown pants and black shoes as he spoke. Surziches. I am sorry for the intrusion, but do you three have a moment? The trio sit down on the floor, having a look of surprise, as Surziches spoke with a bow. Surziches. First and foremost, I would like to apologize for what my sister did yesterday. Sona informed me about what transpired yesterday, and I never knew that Rias did all of that. Surziches had a downcast. He was aware that Issei exposed her, and he perhaps did the right thing, otherwise he might have been blinded by her actions, as Issei spoke. Issei. Don't blame yourself for her actions. Lord Lucifer, sigh, you must be hungry, should I get you something to eat? Surziches. No, I ate my food, thank you, anyways, I am glad that you are fine. I should be thanking you for that, Claire, Asia. Claire and Asia blushed at this, as Surziches pointed to them, before changing into a more neutral look, he then spoke. Surziches. Issei, I have a small request for you. I know that we are not on good terms, but don't worry, it is not about Rias, it is about someone else. Will you help us? Issei looked at him, and spoke. Issei. What is it? Surziches. It's about Kiba. He actually disappeared without a trace, and when Sona tried to stop him, he actively disobeyed her. Now I am aware that he is supposed to have his peerage status changed into that one of free, but he is still part of my family, and until then, he needs to be alright, so can you please help me find him? Issei. What about Rias? I expected she would at least look for him, and not me. Surziches. Rias. Has not been in contact, according to Akeno. She has isolated herself in her room for hours as we speak. I reached out to her, but she refused to talk to anyone, including me. Sigh. We have spoiled her rotten. I should have listened to my mother. She saw this before we did, and we should have listened to her. Even my queen has told me about this time and time again. Anyway. Can you look for him? Issei thought for a moment. While their relationship was not that of friendship, Issei knew he could trust Kiba and only Kiba from the GREMORY peerage, as he spoke. Issei. I accept. Surziches smiled and spoke. Surziches, thank you, Issei. Anyways, we were planning for a 3-faction peace session, and since you are the Red Dragon Emperor, we would like you to come. Drag and Zalgo were surprised, Zalgo even more so. He knew that angels, fallen angels and devils hate each other. In his eyes, it was still impossible, but he knew he could have faith in Surziches, since 1, Drag told him that he was not lying, and 2, Surziches seemed different from the devils he or Issei have met during their time. Zalgo. I think you should visit. Issei. Are you sure? Zalgo. I want to see how they are doing without the old fart there. I am not sure whether he is dead, but I am pretty sure he is in death's door. Anyways, if they achieve peace, then I would literally be surprised, as this has never been achieved at all. That devil, Surziches, he truly has my respect. Issei. Very well, I will tell him. Surziches. So Issei, what's your choice? Issei thought for a moment and spoke. Issei. I will come. So when is it? Surziches. I will let you know the date and time. I will take my leave. If I don't, Grafia will kill me for slaking off. Issei chuckled and responded in a joyful, but changes into a serious tone. Issei. Alright, but then, I have a request. There is a secret I need to tell you. Same goes for you too, Claire, but this should not go outside this room, alright. I will reveal this during the peace conference, in front of everyone. Surziches thought for a while, as he thought. Surziches. He already told me he is the Red Dragon Emperor, now what does he want to tell me, as he spoke. Claire. I know he is the Red Dragon, and he is gifted in magic, so what are you hiding, Ice? Claire thought in worry. Asia knew about what Issei was gonna tell as she thought. Asia. It's time, huh? So you have finally decided to tell, Issei. Surziches. Alright, I will not tell, go ahead, what do you want to tell us? Issei. Alright, here goes. Issei brought out the boosted gear, as the boosted gear spoke, however it was a different voice this time, and it shocked the inhabitants of the house. Zalgo. Hello everyone. Surziches was surprised, he never thought he would be hearing a different voice, as he spoke. Surziches. May I know, who are you? I hope I am not rude. Zalgo sighed. It seems like as time passed, people must have forgotten how he sounded, as he spoke. Zalgo. My name is Zalgo, the Demon King, and it is a pleasure to meet all of you. Surziches widened his eyes, and he had a jaw drop. He never expected to meet Zalgo of all people. He also knew that Zalgo was killed by Yahweh, as the biblical god revealed that he was going to kill everyone. However, the devils found it fishy, and upon further interrogation by the demons and further investigation, that was a lie. Greg. He is right, that man is Zalgo, and my partner Issei Haidu is his current reincarnation. Drake spoke, shocking Surziches even more. He knew that dragons are not known for lying, as Issei radiated some aura that belongs to a demon, which confirmed any doubts he had, almost erasing them. Claire was equally surprised, as even she never knew that her lover was the reincarnation of the Demon King Zalgo, someone who even terrified Office and Great Red themselves, as Claire spoke. Claire. Then why you didn't tell us this? Issei turned his attention to Claire and spoke. Issei. I didn't know how you would react. In addition, I wasn't sure who to trust about to this information. But I can trust you completely, Claire, you proved that yesterday. Issei spoke with a smile, as Claire looked away blushing. She was happy that Issei trusted her now completely. Asia pouted on seeing this, as Issei made a wry smile, and spoke. Issei. I trust you too, Asia. Asia smiled, as Claire glared at Issei in jealousy, who flinched out of fear. Even Surziches pitied Issei, since he was aware on how it feels to deal with a wrathful wife back at home. Grafia scared him even now, super devil or not, wife will be wife. Issei. Now here is another thing, as soon I came to know I was Zalgo's reincarnation, he corrupted my pieces, and now, I have this. Issei creates a spear of pure destruction energy. He was starting to get adept in using it, given Zalgo and Drake training him, as Surziches and Claire were even more shocked. Even Asia herself was surprised. Surziches then spoke. Surziches. Issei. No, it's alright, I shouldn't have revealed that to you. Surziches. No, I am fine, so does Riaz know? Issei. Not yet, I am waiting for the right time to tell her. She still thinks about me being her pawn. Surziches. I see. Surziches was a bit happy that Issei has not asked that whether he could kill her. Being the Demon King, he could have easily killed her and left no trace. He thinks that he is waiting for the right time to deal with her, as he thought. Surziches. Riaz, you have fucked up, big time, forget me, not even the four Satans will save you if you harass him, ever again. I am happy that he has not killed you yet. I wonder what your plans are. Issei, no Zalgo. Claire. That is indeed a surprise, but next time. Pulls collar closer, making Issei flinch in fear. You better tell me that you have some surprise like this, or I will make sure you regret it. Claire gave a sweet smile, as Issei rapidly nodded his head in fear. Surziches did not choose to intervene, since he did not want to deal with an angry and scary woman behind him. Claire. Good. Claire released him as he breathed a sigh of relief, as Zalgo spoke telepathically. Zalgo. Good job, I am glad you are alright. Issei nodded, as Surziches spoke with a sigh and a sly smile. Surziches. Alright, I will keep this a secret. The Devil Council would have blown a casket if you had the power of destruction with you. Anyways, I will let you know the time. See you later, hide you, Issei. Surziches teleported back to the underworld as Asia spoke. Asia. Are you sure about telling him? Issei. I did not sense him lying, so yeah, I hope he keeps his word, but even then, I am gonna reveal it in a few days. Asia nods as the trio get ready to head to school. They meet Masumi and Issei's parents and act like nothing is wrong, but deep down Claire was disheartened. She saw them as good-hearted people. Disciplining is not wrong, but abusing, that's crossing the line, and it is not easily forgivable. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei trying to search for Tails' doll. Guo Park, 5:30 p.m. Gibba was standing near the fountain. He pondered on his past, as he still remembered the screams of the dead children. His past was not the best, if not he had one of the worst pasts ever. Issei. I knew I would find you here, Gibba. Gibba turned his attention to see Issei, Claire and Asia standing behind him. He was surprised to see him here as he spoke. Gibba. Issei. Issei. So what happened? Why did you turn tail and run without an explanation? Gibba looked away as he asked. Gibba. Who sent you here, Riaz? Issei. Hell no, not that bitch. It was Surziches who asked me to look for you. Technically it was Sona, but he was the one who asked me to search for you. Gibba was surprised. The Satan Lucifer himself asked to look for him as he spoke. Gibba. It's a long story, I hope you have time. Gibba then narrated his past to the group on how he was once part of the Holy Church, as he was taken in as an orphan, as he was one of several children that were a part of the Holy Sword Project. Claire. Holy Sword Project. Issei. You have heard of it, Claire? Claire. Indeed, it was one of the most darkest church projects ever put up to date. The goal was to create a wielder that could hold the Excalibur. Needless to say, it ended in disaster. Nobody was spared, everyone was killed. Asia and Issei widened their eyes in shock. Gibba then continued. Gibba. I remember the events clearly. The sword is the cause for my suffering. It is the reason why my comrades have died. I prayed to God every single day, just to make my superiors happy. But even then, none of us could wield the sword. We were no longer seen as children, but test subjects. Our numbers reduced over time, and as all test subjects, we were disposed when the situation was not favorable, at least the ones that did survive. Claire looked away, tears forming in her eyes. She pitied the boy. No one should ever go through this. Both Kiba and Issei had really terrible and messed up past. Asia could relate, as she also went through a similar traumatic experience like she did, thanks to Diodora. Issei on the other hand was silent, but he internally was furious. Even Zalgo was equally mad. Now he wished for God's death to be true. What was he doing during when he was dead? He could not make him disappointed anymore. Claire. I have no words. I am really sorry you had to go through that. Claire spoke in sadness as Kiba spoke. Kiba. When they disposed of us, my comrades stalled them for me to escape, but I ended up inhaling too much of the toxic gas as I ran. They chased me down to kill me so that this does not go out of the church. As I was about to die, that is when I met her. Issei. GREMORY. Kiba nods, as Issei understood that she must have saved him when he nearly died, as he felt a similarity between the two of them. That is when they heard another voice. Zenobia. Valper Galilei, that was his name. The group turned their attention to Zenobia and Irina. Issei glared at her, hoping that what happened yesterday was a bad nightmare. Claire. Ice, she is not worth it. Claire spoke softly, as Issei nodded. He still was angry at Irina, who was saddened seeing him here. She was completely regretful for what happened yesterday. Kiba. Valper, I remember him, he was the one leading the project. Zenobia. Indeed, he was nicknamed the Genocide Bishop for that reason. He was excommunicated in the aftermath. I believe he is the one who has the swords as well. The church was also ashamed and horrified by what had happened. This is an incident even we regret as well. Zenobia then turned her attention to Issei as she spoke. Zenobia. We may not have a good relationship when we met, but I believe we have the same goal. We both need to work together if we need to get the swords back. Claire and the remaining group members discussed for a while as Claire spoke. Claire. Fine, we accept this temporary alliance. Asia nods as Kiba speaks. Kiba. As long as I get my revenge, I don't mind working with you. Kiba declared as the group looked towards Issei. As Issei looked around, Claire then spoke. Claire. Issei. Issei. Fine. I will work with you too. Issei reluctantly agreed. He knew that once this mission gets over, they will leave permanently, and in a way, it would be in a way a good thing. Scene change. Dimska brought to you by Chibi. Claire trying to stop Chibi Issei and Chibi Kiba trying to build a wormhole. Guo pavement, 9:30 p.m. Issei. So we need to wear this, right? Issei looked at the priest clothes that were given to them, to all four of the members, with Zenobia and Irina also wearing them. Zenobia. That is correct, we need to wear them if we need to infiltrate the church. Kiba looked at the clothes. Kiba. Anything for my revenge, I shall wear them, now let's get going. Issei. Very well, me, Claire and Kiba will be in group, and Asia, Irina and Zenobia in another group. Any objections? Irina wanted to raise her hand, however she couldn't. Issei did not make eye contact towards her. She understood that she was responsible for that and only hoped that she would change in the future. Issei. Very well, let's move. Scene change. Issei, Kiba and Claire headed to the church on the south. As he did, Kiba asked. Kiba. Say Issei, why did you let Irina and Zenobia come with us? Issei. Oh, don't get me wrong, I dislike their guts, especially Irina's, but then again, a mission is a mission, and we need to get this done. I have a feeling that something big is happening. I mean, Kakabiel is acting now for a reason. Claire was saddened, seeing Issei dislike Irina like that, but then again she couldn't blame him, her betrayal broke him. It is a good thing that he was willing to work with them to fulfill their goals. Issei then spoke. Issei. And if we can take down this Valper guy, then it is a bonus. You do want revenge, right? Kiba. That true. Kiba growled as Issei spoke. Issei. Well then, let's head there to the church as soon as possible. Kiba and Claire nodded as Claire spoke. Claire. Just the fact that I am wearing church clothes is so uncomfortable. How do they even wear such robes? Issei. How about you ask a priest then, Claire? Claire deadpanned and spoke. Claire. Real funny ice. Kiba. You know, you two seem like an actual couple. Claire. Nobody asked you, knight. Claire exclaimed while blushing and in an annoyed tone, as Kiba chuckled. Issei also had a blush as they walked ahead. Scene change. Asia. Why do I feel the urge to kill a devil? Asia angrily spoke as Zenobia asked. Zenobia. What? Asia snapped out of it and spoke. Asia. Oh, nothing much, let's keep looking for them. The other girls nodded as they continue looking for Fried and Valper. Scene change. Issei, Kiba and Claire reach the church. As they see someone greet them. Fried. Yahoo. If it isn't my hated devil friends. Fried exclaimed as Claire asked. Claire. Is he always like this? Issei. Yeah. Fried. Well, if it isn't the legendary Claire Phoenix, the woman who is renowned for her beauty, come let me grope and assault a beauty like you. Fried exclaimed in a perverted smile, as Claire flinched and had a blush on her face. She covered her chest in defense, as she angrily glared at Fried. Issei then exclaimed in anger. Issei. You really know how to make someone angry, don't you? Kiba. Fried, we shall take you down. Issei. Kiba, call the girls, we have found them, Claire ready to take this bastard down. Claire. You bet. Claire activated her gem and changed into her battle outfit, which comprised of a red battle suit exposing her skin near the arms. Then she had a red battle covering her chest, along with her vulnerable parts like legs and arms, as 6 red gun pods, which hovered around her. Issei was surprised, as she saw this weapon the first time. He never knew that she had a weapon like that, as Issei asked. Issei. Claire. Claire. Oh, I never told you about this, didn't I? Well, this is my own weapon Lord Ajuka created. I was the first devil that was compatible with it, and hence he gave it to me. Think of it as my very own sacred gear. Issei. It seems like you have also been keeping some secrets of your own, Claire, haha. Issei chuckled as Claire spoke. Claire. I often use this to subdue my opponents, but yes, it can potentially kill my opponents as well, so I would be careful in taking them down. Hell, I rarely use this to fight my enemies in raiding games. Fried. Oh, it seems like the busty devil has got some secrets. Well, let's take her down, I am gonna have some fun with her. Claire got even more angry, as Kiba spoke. Kiba. They are on their way, they should be here soon. Claire. Good, now let's take this bastard down. Kiba. Yes, Lady Claire. Kiba summoned his sword birth as the trio all fought against him, as Fried fought against Issei. He used a shadow sword created by Umbrakinesis, as he fought against Fried's Excalibur rapidly and Nightmare at the same time, as he created several clones to fight against the trio, each clone fighting against Claire, Issei and Kiba. The clones had increased speed as Claire defended herself from the attack, as she easily destroyed the clone with ease. Kiba then fought against a clone, as Kiba was about to get slashed by another clone. That clone was defeated as Issei went after Fried. Issei's strikes were much more brutal than Kiba's since he used his brute strength to strike against Fried. Issei slashed through another clone, as Fried used rapidly to slash on Kiba, who blocked another strike courtesy of Fried. Another clone tried to fight against him and strike him in the back, but he was blasted by Claire with ease. Issei. We need to find the real one if we need to beat him. Claire defeated another clone while exclaiming. Claire. I know, this is getting annoying. Isn't there a way we can defeat them all at once? Issei. All at once, Kiba, I have a plan. Kiba. Alright. Issei. Use sword birth at all the clones, I will transfer some of the power. Kiba. Got it. Issei activated his boosted gear and rushed towards Kiba as the gear announced. Transfer. Issei transferred the power to Kiba as Kiba felt a surge of power as he exclaimed. Kiba. Sword birth. Kiba unleashed multiple swords taking down several clones at once as the actual Fried fell back. Seeing this, Claire's cannons transformed into a large red rifle that looks like a cannon. Claire. Let's end this Fried. Claire held the rifle in her hand and aimed it at Fried's hand, completely blowing it, making him scream. Fried. Ah, you bitch. My hand. By that time, the other trio of girls had also approached them, and seeing Fried's hand shocked them, it was completely blown up. Asia was surprised by the power Claire held. She was pretty strong on her own. They turned their attention to the trio of girls, as Issei wondered what took them so long, as Claire spoke. Claire. Take the swords, he has 2 of them. Zenobia nodded as she approached, however she was pushed back by an unknown force. Irina. Zenobia. Irina exclaimed as she headed to her friend, surprised by what had happened. As she did, Issei walked towards the field as he spoke. Issei. It seems like someone has applied a force field. You presume correctly, devil. The person exclaimed was a man. He had the appearance of a short, bespectacled elderly man with gray hair, a mustache, black eyes, who wore a priest outfit. The man approached and had a smile on his face. Issei wondered who this man was as he spoke. So well, we have some interesting guests among us. Fried, it seems like they got you. It's a good thing I had this bounded field on, else we would have lost those swords. Issei sensed animosity, and this was coming from Kiba. Being a demon, both Issei and Asia have the ability to sense negative emotions from people and other supernatural beings. Issei. You know him. Kiba. Valper Galilei, the man who is the reason I suffered for so long, and he dies tonight. Issei. Kiba. No. Kiba rushed towards the field while ignoring Issei's warning as he was sent flying towards a tree, injuring him. Asia rushed to heal him up while Claire and Issei got ready to face off against him, and so did Zenobia and Irina. Valper. It would be wise to retreat, Fried, we are no match for them. Fried. You sure about this? Valper. Indeed, the people against you are extremely strong, we need to get out of here. Fried thought for a moment and spoke. Freed. Very well then, we will be seeing each other soon. Shitty devils. Freed used a light flash grenade as Issei instinctively shielded Claire as she would be affected by it. She blushed on being close to Issei as he spoke. Issei. Are you alright? Claire spoke with a blush. Claire. Yes. I would have been fine. But thank you. Claire was happy that Issei protected her. Asia was too focused on healing Kiba as he was exhausted for the whole night. He was barely able to move much. Zenobia. We will give chase to them. Irina. They have not gone that far. We can catch up to them. The girls left before Issei or anyone else could speak, leaving Issei, Claire, Asia and Kiba alone as Issei spoke. Issei. So what now? Claire. We will be taking Kiba home, we cannot leave him here like this. That won't be necessary, Claire. The voice was revealed to be Ria's GREMORY. She was with her peerage, that being Akeno, Kaneko and Rainer. Claire and Issei glared at them as Ria spoke with an arrogant smirk. Rias. Now hand over Kiba to us, Claire, Issei. Issei. Sorry. No can do. Claire. He is not in a condition to move and we will be taking care of him here. Rias lost her smile and her annoyance was being shown. Rias. What was that? Issei. You heard us, we will be taking care of him and heading home, he needs proper rest, knowing you would punish him for insubordination, am I right? Rias fell back, getting even more angry as Claire spoke. Claire. Now if you will excuse us, we will be taking Kiba to our house. Claire turned back to help Kiba, however Rias exclaimed. Rias. I don't care if you are an ultimate class devil, Claire, Issei and Kiba belong to me and you will not take them from me. Claire. Not anymore, you heard the verdict from Lord Beelzebub, both are free pieces, all they need to do is get that changed, which will be happening soon. Claire exclaimed in response. Rias was losing her patience as she yelled. Rias. You better surrender them to us right now. And Issei, you will also be coming, you need to be punished for your actions against me. Claire was worried, she hoped Issei does not do anything reckless, however Issei smiled and responded. Issei. Sorry, you know what happened the last time you forced me to come with you, right? Rias fell back flinching as Issei spoke with a grin. Issei. Yes, now go back to your cozy apartment and sleep, after all you only have a few months before you never head to the human world. Rias lost her composure completely as Claire gave a sly smile. She knew Issei was enjoying seeing her suffer, however Claire did not pity Rias, she had it coming as she shouted. Rias. You better give us Kiba right now and surrender yourself, Issei Haidu. Issei chuckled as Claire sighed, they knew a fight was gonna happen soon. Issei. Sorry but no. You can scram if you don't want to get hurt. Rias. Oh, I am not gonna get hurt, you are, and we will take you by force. Rias exclaimed with an evil grin as the peerage got ready to fight. Issei and Claire looked at each other and smiled, they gave a nod as they had a feeling that this was going to happen sooner than later. Claire. So? You want to fight us, well then don't regret it. Issei. She won't, she will keep trying like the annoyance and leech like she always is. Issei's statement made Rias furious as she commanded. Rias. Rainer and I will take Issei down, the other two handle Claire. Akeno, try and take down Claire or distract her. Kaneko, handle Asia and grab Kiba and get out of here. The peerage nodded as they got ready to fight. Issei and Claire lost their smiles and became serious as they decided to handle the GREMORY peerage. Previously we saw Claire, Asia and Issei sleep on one bed. After showing that Claire and Asia are people he could trust without any problems, they knew that they could trust him and he could to them. However, their moment was interrupted by Surziches, who had come to the house for a visit. After an embarrassing moment, Issei and the girls greet him and he puts on his request. It was Kiba who was to be searched for. Issei accepted the request and in return, he revealed his two secrets, with one being the reincarnation of Zalgo, as well as him having access to the power of destruction. Surziches and Claire surprisingly took this well, as she warned Issei to let her know something important like this, as Surziches further invited him for the peace conference, as Issei accepted to head there. Surziches then left the group as Issei and the other girls both head to school. That evening, the group managed to track Kiba, who was standing near a water fountain, as Issei has a conversation with him. He comes to know of Kiba's tragic past, of him being involved in the Holy Sword Project, a project that had claimed the lives of many innocent children. As they were conversing, Zenobia and Irina joined in, who revealed that it was Valper Galilei who was responsible for the damage. Eventually they agreed to form a sort of temporary alliance, as the duo joined the group temporarily. As much as Issei did not like the arrangement, with Claire convincing him, he agreed to this temporary alliance. As they did, Issei planned the group to split into two, with Issei, Claire and Kiba taking on one group and the others taking the other group. While traveling, Claire and Issei started to act like a regular couple, which Kiba noticed and teased them. Once they reached the church they were greeted by Fried, who was ready to engage them. Claire revealed her weapon which Ajuka had created for her to fight, as Kiba activated his sword birth, with the trio fighting against him with ease. Issei had an idea of taking multiple clones down at once. He used Kiba's help to do so, leaving Fried vulnerable. As Claire used this to blow of his hand using burst cannon, which did work as it left Fried heavily damaged, as the other trio joined in, but as they tried to take their swords, a bounded force field appeared. The caster was revealed to be Valper. Kiba rushed at him, but it had no effect. This allowed the two rogue exorcists to escape. However, Riaz and her Peerage show up and demand Kiba and Issei to come back, and on refusal Riaz engaged with both Claire and Issei. The duo got ready to fight. Riaz. Akeno and I will take care of Issei. Can you handle Claire? Rainer. I dunno princess, they are much stronger. Riaz. Just do it. Not wanting to argue, Rainer reluctantly agreed, as Riaz yelled. On the other side Issei spoke. Issei. Asia protect Kiba. Asia. Leave it to me. Issei, you ready for this Claire? Claire. Oh you bet I can't wait to get my hands on this pampered princess. Issei. Well then, you can handle Rainer and Kaneko right? Claire. Leave that to me, and besides I have a score to settle with that crow. Claire spoke with a smirk, as Rainer angrily glared at Claire. Issei smiled as he knew that he could count on Claire to be by his side, and so is Asia, these two girls he can trust, at the very least. As soon as the fight engaged, Akeno immediately threw a lightning blast towards Issei. As this resulted in a smokescreen. Claire and Asia. Issei. Claire and Asia exclaimed in worry. Claire blocked a fist from Kaneko, as she angrily used her gun pods to strike Kaneko who dodged. She then blocked several light spears from Rainer as Akeno spoke. Akeno. Ara, you shouldn't have been so cocky, now I will make sure you suffer for your actions. Claire and Asia looked worryingly, while Riaz had an evil grin on her face. However, as the dust settled, Issei was fine, and he responded with a grin, as both Claire and Asia smiled. Issei. Had this been before the church, then you would have no problem subduing me. However. Issei teleported behind Akeno, without her noticing. He then tapped her shoulder, and kicked her towards the ground. Akeno tumbled once, but she regained her focus. Riaz responded with using her power of destruction. Riaz. Take this. Riaz unleashed several threads of power of destruction towards Issei. Akeno did the same, unleashing a blizzard, as Issei spoke while dodging. Issei. No control. Issei teleported right behind Akeno, as he grabbed her by the throat and started choking her. She looked towards Issei in horror. Issei generated a fire fist in his hand, as Akeno grew further fearful, afraid that she may not survive the attack. Riaz, on seeing her friend in danger, unleashed an AoE power of destruction. Issei responded in staying where he is. Akeno took most of the power of destruction aimed towards Issei. Akeno. Aya. Akeno screamed in pain, as the power of destruction was hurting her body. Riaz exclaimed in shock and horror. Riaz. Akeno. Issei. And no care for her own teammates. Seriously, how the hell did you even become king of your peerage? Issei asked as he roundhouse kicked Akeno towards Riaz. She groaned in pain, due to being inflicted with the power of destruction. Riaz. How the hell are you this strong? Riaz exclaimed in shock as she continued. Riaz. You took down an entire peerage not just once, but twice. You were nothing but a lucky perverted boy with a boosted gear. Issei. I don't think I need to answer to you, GREMORY, but it is time to end this. Claire kept blocking every punch from Kaneko, using her armor and her gun pods to block her strikes, annoying her to no end. Claire. What is that you have got? Claire unleashed several gun pod shots towards Kaneko, who struggled to block. Against them, Rainer helped her teammate by throwing several light spears towards Claire, who used a barrier to protect herself. The light spears fell on the ground. Claire pushed Kaneko aside as she blitzed towards Rainer. Out of fear, Rainer threw a light spear which was easily blocked and thrown aside by Claire, who then spoke. Claire. You know, that look of fear, I always wanted to see that in your face. You don't deserve shit, Rainer. I know how you toyed with both Issei and Asia to get what you want. You don't deserve love from nobody. You don't deserve anything. You know Issei has been with Asia and me, and we are better women than you will ever be. Claire declared as Asia smiled. Claire genuinely cared for her, and Issei. Rainer got angry at this. This filthy devil insulted a fallen angel like her. Rainer. How dare you, do you know? Claire. The great Rainer, blah blah blah, I know, and I know what you did. Anyways, I am done talking to you, and it is time to end this. Claire unleashed her guns, as she fired onto Rainer, as she was sent flying. Claire then spoke. Claire. Hellfire. Claire unleashed a flame storm towards Rainer, as Rainer screamed in pain. Rainer. Aya. Claire. I would love to torture you to death, but then again, it's so uncivilized, so I will spare you. Claire then burned Rainer, but with a lower intensity flames as she was pushed her towards Riaz, as Riaz who was fighting Issei saw this. Issei activated chaos magic in his palms and threw a chaos punch towards Riaz, who was barely able to block the attack. She lost her focus on seeing Rainer heavily burned, groaning in pain. Riaz. No. Riaz looked on in despair. 2 of her pieces were down. The next one to go was Kaneko, who was sent flying. Her stomach had a hole in it and she was completely unconscious as Claire had her buster cannon in hand. Claire. It is a good thing I aimed for her stomach. If I wanted to I could have killed her. Issei then turned to Riaz and spoke. Issei. I don't care what you think, you have lost. Now you have 2 choice. Either we can beat you further until you never see the sun ever again, or you can scram and never come back. Make your choice. Issei's words made Riaz furious as she yelled. Riaz. Mark my words. I will make sure you pay, Issei. That's a promise. Riaz took her peerage minus Kiba and teleported out of there. As Issei sighed, he then turned to Claire and spoke. Issei. So what now? Claire. Now we take him home. Turns to Asia. How is he doing? Asia. He is fine, now we can take him home. Scene change. Haidu residence, 12 AM. After putting Kiba to rest in Issei's room, as he slept down, Asia, Issei and Claire slept on the top, hugging Issei and cuddling with him. Claire decided to wait until Issei is in the right state of mind for being dated. Issei suddenly woke up as he needed to have some water after carefully trying not to wake up Claire and Asia as Dreg spoke. Dreg. It is nice for you to be this happy, partner. Issei. SHH, Dreg, keep it down. Issei shushed Dreg, who chuckled at his host. He then spoke. Dreg. Alright. I will keep it down. I know how it can be dealing with an angry female. Issei. Anyways, why did you want to wake me up? Dreg. Well, it is because the White Dragon Emperor has made his appearance in this world. Stay alert. Issei became alert. He did not know who this White Dragon Emperor was, whether they are an ally or an enemy, only time will tell. That is when Issei saw a magic circle, jumping straight on alert. He saw that it was Surzich's Lucifer and Ria's GREMORY. Well, he was okay with Surzich's. Ria's was a whole another story as Issei spoke. Issei. You know, we have a door in this house for a reason. Surzich's. Do you want to wake up the whole house then? Issei. Yeah, and 12 AM is not the time to show up at someone else's house. Surzich's. I had no other choice, you know, this was the only time I was free. Ria's. Will you two stop and punish Issei and Kiba for insubordination? Issei. Lord Lucifer, why is she so dumb? Riaz. You shut up. You stupid pawn and know your place. Riaz spoke with a smirk, knowing that her brother would protect her. However, Issei blitzed and started choking her as she struggled. Blooper. Riaz. Harder, daddy. Riaz exclaimed with a blush as Surzich's and Issei look at her having one thought in mind. Issei and Surzich's. The fuck? Blooper ends. Surzich's was horrified seeing this. He knew that Riaz was going to die if she continued, but he knew that this was her fault. But even then, she was his sister. He knew that he can only save her as he requested. Surzich's. Issei, just let her go, I will handle this. Issei reluctantly let her go as Riaz gasped for her. Surzich's then commanded. Surzich's. Riaz, leave this house now. You followed me without my permission and I want you back at the GREMORY household. Riaz. But. Surzich's. Riaz, leave. Surzich's commanded as Riaz teleported, but not before glaring at Issei. As he did, Claire and Asia woke up. Claire. Ice. What happened? Lord Lucifer. Claire exclaimed the last part as Surzich's spoke. Surzich's. I am really sorry for coming here unannounced. First, I want you to thank you for bringing Kiba back. We will take him back to his apartment. Surzich's teleported Kiba back to his apartment as Claire spoke. Claire. So what brings you here, Lord Lucifer? Issei. Don't tell me you are here for her. Surzich's. No, quite the contrary, I am here because someone wanted to meet you. A magic circle appeared next to Surzich's, and out of which a man came out. He was a tall man appearing to be in his 20s with an average build, black hair, golden bangs and black goatee. He wore a V-neck maroon long coat with a wide open high collar that opens up at the hem. The long coat also featured 2 black belts around the waist and 4 black bands on each arm, 2 of the bands at the wrist and the other 2 near the elbow. He wore grey slacks and brown shoes. So this is the Red Dragon Emperor and the cold-blooded Phoenix. It is a pleasure to meet the two of you. My name is Azazel and I am the Governor General of GREMORY. The trio were surprised to see one of the fallen angel generals here, minus Asia, who was unaware of all of this. Asia. GREMORY. Asia asked, confused as Azazel spoke. Azazel. GREMORY is the place where all fallen angels reside after we were banished. Azazel spoke with a smirk as Asia nodded as Surzich's spoke. Surziches. Anyways, we were here for this, we wanted to talk to you about Kakabiel. Azazel. He is the one that stole the swords, but I bet you knew that, right? Issei nods as Claire speaks. Claire. Should you be handling him yourself? No offense, but isn't he your subordinate? Azazel. None taken, but if I did show up, it would cause a lot of problem, so I want you to take him down. Aside from that, there are plans for the city, you need to stop him before it is too late. His intention is to restart the Great War, he was always a warmonger. Azazel informs him, as Issei thinks for a while, as Claire pales at this, he then speaks. Issei. Making us do the dirty work, huh? Fine by me. Azazel. Speaking of which, I would love to see the cold-blooded Phoenix and Red Dragon Emperor working together. Both Issei and Claire blushed at this, as Asia pouted in jealousy, but she knew that she was not going to lose. Azazel. Anyways, even if you do lose, I have backup waiting, so don't fret in case you lose. Azazel waves and teleports away, as Issei has tick marks on his face, as he thinks. Issei. Who the hell does he think he is? Issei snaps out as Claire speaks. Claire. So is there anything else you want? Surziches. No, knowing you I doubt you would protect Riaz, right? Issei. Is that a question? Surziches. That's totally understandable, I mean the way she disrespected you. She needs to learn some manners, anyways, you will have to protect Sona though, if she is killed, well, let's just say the Kua will be a walking popsicle. Claire was shocked, she was aware whom Surziches was talking about, as Issei speaks. Issei. Who are we talking about? Claire. She is Seraphol Leviathan, formerly Citri, needless to say she is a Siskin. There are rumors that if there was someone to take her virginity first, it would be her older sister. Claire spoke with a bit of blush as Asia innocently wondered what virginity was. Issei also sighed as he then spoke. Issei. Judging by your talks, her personality is very different. Surziches. Her personality is the polar opposite of Sona, I think you can grasp the concept. Issei nods, as Surziches then teleports back to the underworld. Issei then speaks. Issei. Well, that happened. Claire. It seems like tomorrow will be a busy day. Asia. Let's get some sleep, after all we need to be ready for the next day. The others nodded as they went off to sleep, however a ring opened up in the room, as a voice spoke. It seems like I will have to come another time, well. We will be meeting soon, Issei, or should I say my lord. The entity teleports back to his dimension, as he knew that he will be meeting Issei very soon. After all, his friend Lord X had told him about Zalgo's return, Issei was sleeping soundly with two girls. Scene change. Riaz was inside a room, she was angry that she was humiliated by Issei, as she decided to call Murayama and Caddis. Riaz. Hello. Murayama, I have a plan, and this will hurt Issei. I assure you, I promise that he will be broken after the plan I will tell you, will you execute it? Good, so here it is. Riaz informed the plan as the two girls listened to it, they had an evil grin, they will harass Issei no matter what. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi RageRevan, trying to understand what natural language processing and neural networks are. The next day. Outside Haidu residence, 10:30 am. Issei and the girls were walking towards their school, as he did, he sensed a demon realm as he spoke. Issei. Claire, Asia head to school, I will be joining you two very soon. Claire and Asia stopped as Claire asked. Claire. Something wrong? Issei. No, I have something left to do, I will be coming, don't worry. The girls nodded as they left. Issei then headed to what seems to be a huge ring inside of a hidden alleyway. The ring was described to be a blue color. As Issei walked towards it, he sensed the demonic energy coming from it. As he walked towards it, he was greeted by someone surprising. The Heogazamasu. The entity greeted Issei, who fell back. He knew that they were a demon. The demon was described to be looking exactly like Sonic, or more similar to Lord X, like a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog. However, he had a human face and a mustache. Issei. Oh, what the hell? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, my lord. The entity exclaimed in surprise as Issei spoke. Issei. Who are you? The name's Majin Sonic. It is so infinite fun to meet the reincarnation of Zalgo itself. Here, let me help you up. The entity gave a hand to Issei as he helped Issei up, as Issei speaks. Issei. So what are you doing here, Majin? Majin. I kind of wanted to meet you yesterday night, but couldn't considering you had a devil and a fallen angel inside of your house, so I chose to meet you today. Issei. Well, it is nice to meet you too, Majin. Issei greeted Majin by giving a handshake, as Zalgo spoke from the boosted gear. Zalgo. Do you not want to greet me, Majin? Majin was a bit startled as he responded. Majin. No, Lord Zalgo, I presumed that you were sleeping. Anyways, how did you end up being a dragon's roommate? Zalgo. It's a long story. Majin. Well, X told me most of the stuff. So I have an idea. Issei. Wait, you know X? Imagine. Oh yeah, we are good friends, even met Sally.exe and his kid. His kid may be a bit temperamental, but then again he is just a teenager after all. Zalgo. I see, demon teenagers are known to be quite hormonal after all, even more than human teenagers. Issei was surprised by this information, as Majin spoke. Majin. Speaking of which, where are the two of you going? Issei. Oh, we are heading to school, I will catch you later, Majin. Issei waved goodbye to Majin as he rubbed his head. Majin. All the best, my lord, after all that place is known as Infinite Hell. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Majin Sonic trying to help Chibi Kiba and Chibi Issei build a portal in secret. Outside Kuo Academy, 5:30 p.m. Sona. It's so good when it is so quiet, right, Tsubaki? Tsubaki. Indeed, the students have gone, and we just have to patrol this area, and the rest is done. Sona. That's true. Anyways, what do you think of the current situation? Tsubaki. It's pretty bad, considering Ria's teleported into Issei's house without permission. Sona. That's true again, but what's surprising is that Ria's had the guts to do it. What's even more surprising is the fact that Issei did not kill her after everything she has done. The familiar then started to approach Sona as she asked. Sona. Yes. The familiar spoke something as Sona widened her eyes in shock as Sona spoke. Sona. What? The familiar disappeared as Tsubaki asked. Tsubaki. President. What happened? Sona. Call Claire, Issei and the others now, they need to be here right now. Tsubaki nods after she leaves. After a while, Issei, Claire and Asia join in as Issei asks. Issei. Sona, what happened? Sona. My familiar found something, we need to head there, I have an awful feeling about this. Claire and Issei understood that this was Kakabiel, and that's what the familiar found, that is why Sona was in an emergency. Asia also had somewhat similar feeling, but she highly doubted that Kakabiel would be the one the familiar found. Scene change. An unknown cliff, Kuo, 6 p.m. The group teleported to the location as Issei asked. Issei. Are you sure this is the location? Sona. Yes, my familiar is not wrong in that regard. The group turned around to see Irina. Her clothes were completely tattered, revealing a part of her breast, as Claire exclaimed. Claire. Irina. They rushed to her location. Upon closer inspection, she had multiple bruises on her body, implying that someone tortured her. Irina. See Claire. Wani-sama. Claire. What happened? Who did this to you? Claire asked concerned as Irina spoke. Irina. Was. Irina fell unconscious as Claire was shocked. Sona then spoke. Sona. We have the equipment to treat her back at my house. Tsubaki, take her there. Tsubaki. Yes, President. Tsubaki nods as she teleports back to her world, taking Irina with her, leaving Sona, Claire, Asia and Issei alone. Sona. So what now? Bihuu. The person was revealed to be Fried. As the four got on guard, Claire was about to activate her weapon as Fried spoke. Fried. It's been a while, you shitty devils. Issei. Fried. Issei exclaimed in anger as he was ready to burn him alive as he spoke. Fried. If you want to know what happened to the girl, it was because they picked up a fight with my boss. One of them escaped, however this one was not so lucky. They were almost about to rush towards and kill him, however Fried waved his hands in defiance as he spoke. Fried. Oh, I am not here to fight, I am only a messenger, the boss would like to have a word. Fried points his hands up as he grins. The four then see up to see. He has the appearance of a man with long black hair and red eyes, and unlike other fallen angels, he has pointy ears. He wears a black robe with detailed accessories and purple shoulder pads with gold streaks on the side. He had 5 sets of jet black wings, implying that he was a cadre fallen angel. Greetings, my name is Kakabiel, former angel of stars. It is a pleasure to meet all of you devils. Claire. Kakabiel. Claire growled his name. She was well aware of who exactly the man in front of her is. Issei looked at the man in surprise. Something was off about him. He looked different from regular fallen angels. His face was white and his eyes were red. Kakabiel. The heiress of the Citri clan and the cold-blooded princess of the Phoenix clan. Just the hair reminds me of those filthy devils. It makes me want to puke. Claire. I am glad that we piss you off. Claire taunted Kakabiel, however the latter was unaffected. He then spoke. Kakabiel. Now you must be wondering why I am here, right? It is quite simple actually. I will start a war. I will take your heads as a gift. Even if it's only me, I will continue from where we left off. I'm going to show Seraphil and Michael that we, the fallen angels, are the ultimate beings. The four were shocked as Claire and Sona got ready for battle. Fried then spoke. Fried. Now would you look at that, isn't my boss the best? Freed spoke with a maniac smile. As he grinned, Kakabiel then spoke. Kakabiel. To start the war we will destroy this town, as it houses of 2 heiress and 1 important family member of the Phoenix clan. Yes, this will be enough to trigger a war and bring back the Great War. This will be good. I am gonna enjoy this. Have your fun while it lasts. This town will not last for much longer. Kakabiel and Freed then escaped as the 4 look. They see them heading to the school. Claire then speaks with a shocked face. Claire. We need to head there fast. Asia. Why? Sona. I sense a huge magic energy source present. If this continues then. Claire. It will result in an explosion strong enough to destroy the entire town. Issei thought about his friends dying as he saw Mitsuda and Motohama being disintegrated. Sona then spoke. Sona. We might have to work with Rias. Sighs Issei. Issei. My feelings don't matter, we need to save my friends, let's go. Issei spoke in an authoritative voice. As Claire smiled at him, the group then rushed to the school to stop Kakabiel once and for all. Previously we saw Issei and Claire face off against the GREMORY peerage minus Kiba, who was being healed by Asia. As Issei was hit by a lightning strike, he easily survived it and took out Akeno first, as he brutally used Ria's attack against her. Meanwhile Claire was handling Rainer. As she did, she taunted Rainer, angering her. Claire made sure to torment her while she staggered and was eventually burned by Claire's flames. She was sent flying. As she was also down, Issei faced off against Ria's, humiliating and taunting her, eventually pushing her to the ground as she watched in fear how strong her pawn became. Haneko was also eventually defeated as Ria's was forced to retreat. With her gone, the trio decide to take Kiba home. At 12 Surziches teleports to his house along with Rias. As he does, Rias taunts Issei, and needless to say, she almost loses her life before Surziches commands to leave. As he does, Claire and Asia both wake up. Surziches then introduces Azazel to the group, who greets them properly. He then reveals that the reason he is here is because he wanted to deal with Kakabiel, but he could not do it himself, hence he is asking Issei and his group to do it, who agree. Doing so, as Azazel left, Issei and his group decide to go to sleep since there was no work left, as an entity spies on them. The next day as they head back to school, Issei sensed something as he left the girls to head to the location, where he saw a blue ring. As he approached closer an entity popped up, and this was revealed to be Majin Sonic. As they greeted each other, he came to know that Lord X had a child as well, surprising him. As he then left to head to school, Majin waved him goodbye, knowing the fun-loving demon would be meeting him very soon. After a few hours, Sona and Tsubaki were taking a stroll. As their familiar sensed something was off, she called Issei, Claire and Asia to her location. As they teleported there they saw Irina heavily injured. Upon investigating they figured out that this was Freed's doing, as the trio confronted him. Eventually Freed reveals a bigger threat in the form of Kakabiel, the Angel of Stars. As he taunted the girls, they come to know his real intentions, and that was to kill the devil family members present, triggering a great war. Shocking the people present, the duo then flew to the location where Issei's school was there. The girls then deduced that they were going to blow up the school. Shocking them, realizing that this would kill his friends and family, they decide to rush there before it is too late. Surzich's office, 6 p.m. Surziches was performing his paperwork. He knew that he had a run with Zalgo, the Demon King himself, the same Demon King that God of the Bible killed out of fear, and in return he got cursed, making sure he died permanently, or that's what Michael had told him about. Surziches. If Issei is truly the Demon King, then, oh no, he would kill Rias. But then, Surziches was torn. On one end it was his sister whom he had loved and cherished more than anyone else, and on the other end, it was his faction. He will definitely chose the latter, but he cannot watch his sister's death. He is a leader first and then a brother, but watching a family member die is not something worth it. In truth, Surziches was terrified. Issei was this close in killing her because of his negligence. This showed that he will not think twice in killing her if she annoyed him again. Surziches. I can't beat someone like him even if I wanted to. Rias, just I beg you, don't bother him again if he goes on a rampage during his Juggernaut drive. Surziches paled about this. He did not know whether the 3 factions would survive. Hell, he knew that they would be wiped out from existence, and he highly doubted that even Shiva or the dragon gods could take him on. Surziches was worried about his faction the most. Many devils were killed, and judging by what Rias was doing, she was dooming her own faction to extinction, just like the original 4 Satans did during their time as the leaders of the devils, as well as their immediate descendants. Surziches. I need to put a stop to Rias now. Even if she hates me, I will not let her ruin my factions for her own stupid vendetta. I am talking to a Juka right now. In truth, Surziches wanted to reveal the information of Issei being the reincarnation of Zalgo, but he had to keep it hidden since he promised Issei to do so. He wanted to put her under house arrest and have her homeschooled by her mother, who was more than happy to discipline her, but the council refused. Surziches. Those fools, they will doom the devils, I need to do something before it was too late. Serziches was forced to comply with the Grey King faction's orders. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists as he remembered what they said to him or what his uncle Lord Baal told him. You really think the Red Dragon Emperor will put a stop to us? I am a prideful devil of the Baal family. That low-class filthy devil can't even lay a finger on me. Let alone kill me. I will not let Riaz be imprisoned inside of her house. I care not for what you think. You are only strong because of my family's power. Without it you are nothing. The other council agreed to it, as Serziches and the other Satans were shocked, but they should have expected this from the prideful council. Serziches was internally furious as he was completely helpless. The Great King faction was as influential as the four Satans as of time being, and he could not do anything. Serziches. Sometimes I wish there was someone for devils to help us in times like this. Serziches hoped that things will go properly. He was truly afraid of watching everything he had built so hard crumble to dust because of some prideful idiots. He was desperate to try and fix things before it gets out of hand. Outside Kuo Academy, 6:30 p.m. The Citri Peerage members were creating a barrier under Tsubaki's command as one of the members named Momo approached them and spoke. Momo. President, the barrier has been created just like you asked. Sona. Very well, where are Riaz and the others? Momo. They are inside fighting against the Cerberus. Issei. Is there anyone else inside? Momo does not reply. Before Issei could get angry, Sona responded in an authoritative tone. Sona. Issei asked you a question, is there someone inside? Momo spoke with a hint of fear. Momo. Kakabiel and the two priests are inside. Sona. Good. Issei. I believe this is Fried and Valper. I will call Kiba, we are going to need him for this one. Claire. You do that, we might need some demons as well. Issei nods after he leaves to call them. The student council continued to maintain the barrier as Claire spoke. Claire. We will hold off Kakabiel till more reinforcements can arrive. Say Sona, can you call Lord Serziches or Lady Serafol? Sona. But why? Sona knew how her sister was. She would probably take down the entire Japan as she was extremely attached to her sister. Claire, seeing Sona in worry, she spoke. Claire. Sona. I know she may be too much, but we need them. If we can take down Kakabiel, then this war will not happen. Sona thought for a moment as she then spoke. Sona. Yes, I will call them, we need help. Claire smiled as she then turned to Asia and spoke. Claire. Asia, we need to hold off Kakabiel until Issei and Sona get reinforcements. Asia. Asia releases Purin from the Pokeball as the Pokemon cried. It unnerved many present, minus Claire, who knew that the Pokemon that she was a kind Pokemon. The trio then headed inside to fight against Kakabiel. Scene change. Unnamed location, Kuo, 7 p.m. Lasami. It seems like we have a bigger problem out there. Zero spoke from the sword she was wielding. It was called the Piercing Blade of Ice, a mid-tier new longinus that looked like a flame sword made of ice, with a black handle and partially covered till half of the sword. The piercing blade was capable of being summoned anytime she wanted and was detachable. Unlike the boosted gear or most sacred gears, she can use it as a sword as well as a sacred gear at the same time. Zero. That's Kakabiel, the Angel of Stars, and I believe your brother is fighting him. Lasami. In that case we need to head there as soon as possible. Lasami exclaimed in worry. She wanted to help her brother, she never could help him before, she wants to help him now, as Zero spoke. Zero. Let's go then. Lasami. Balance breaker. Reaching Dragon Balance Breaker. Lasami entered into her balance breaker, which she unlocked only a few days ago. As she entered into her balance breaker, which was dark blue with blue glowing eyes. It almost looked like a clothing wrapped upon her with several ice threads forming around her, which she can control at will. Lasami. Let's go. Lasami flew off into the battlefield, heading there as soon as possible. She needed to help her brother as she did not know whether he had unlocked his balance breaker. Scene change. Near the forest, Kuo, 6:30 p.m. Issei was about to contact Majin Sonic, Lord X and Herobrine when he saw a flying entity. It was his twin sister that had rushed there. He sighed, knowing things have become difficult. In the end he decided to only call Majin Sonic and Lord X since they can teleport immediately when needed. Issei. Hello Majin X, I need the two of you to come to Kuo right now. Majin. May we know why? Issei. Kakabiel has decided to attack the school, we need to stop him as soon as possible. Lord X. So is there anyone else that will be joining us? Issei. I was gonna call Herobrine and if possible MX, but considering my sister is present, those two have slight issues masking their presence, so they may get caught. Majin. That's true. Issei remembered how he had to use his own power to mask theirs so that the devils do not know that they were present. He did inform this to them, and they knew about this flaw of theirs. In addition, he did know if Hypno could face off against Kakabiel. So his only two options were Majin and Lord X. Lord X. Very well, I am on my way. I need to inform Sally.exe and my son Xenophanes about this before I leave. Majin. You do you, make sure that brat doesn't come. Lord X. You still bitter about that incident? Majin. He ruined by Dress X, it was so hard to remove the stains, you know. Lord X. Oh, don't worry, he won't. Sally will make sure about that. Majin nods. He remembered how scary Sally.exe can get if she is angered, and Xenophanes knows that very well. He remembered how Sally.exe grounded him so that he can become better. Majin and Lord X then noticed that Issei was present as they were embarrassed a little bit. Issei was confused as Majin and Lord X spoke. Majin. Anyways, let's just head there. Lord X. Right. The duo disconnected the call as Issei spoke. Issei. That happened. Greg. Right, that is true. I never knew that X had a son that was a complete opposite. Zalgo. I told you teenager demons are known to be brats. Female demons are like that, and you have to deal with them unless they have been well raised. They have that for 2 years until they grow up and mellow down. Issei. Alright. Issei then rushed to the location where the fight took place as he decided to face off against Kakabiel. Scene change. Issei reached the location where Majin and Lord X had teleported themselves in as he spoke. Issei. Let's go. Saji opened the barrier. Issei commanded Saji, who opened the barrier as the trio went inside to fight against the threat inside. Some wanted to protest, but were silenced by Sona and Tsubaki. Issei, Majin and Lord X saw the battle going on. He also noticed Kiba and Zenobia had joined the fight, who was looking at Valper trying to kill him. Claire and Asia were dealing with the second Cerberus, while the piercing dragon was helping Riaz and her peerage, who was struggling against the first one. Claire managed to kill the Cerberus using a well-aimed blaster cannon to the chest as Asia burned its body using her demon fire. Claire then turned her attention to Issei and saw two more figures behind him. One was Lord X, whom she recognized, the other was not known. Claire. Issei, where were you? Claire and Asia rushed towards him as Claire spoke. Claire. I recognize X, but who is the mustache one? Asia. Yeah, even I have never seen him before. Issei. Oh, him, that's Majin Sonic. Majin approached her and gave her a handshake as he spoke. Majin. Konbanwa. My name is Majin Sonic. I met Issei today morning only, and we have become such good friends. I am known as the infinite fun-loving demon. It is nice to meet you all. Lasami looked in surprise. She saw the two entities looked awfully similar to Sonic, but who were they, as Zero spoke in her mind. Zero. Those are demons. They are a bit different from devils. Think of them as enhanced versions of devils. Lasami mentally nods as she blocks a chomp bite from the Cerberus while Kaneko punches it with ease, pushing it away as Akeno and Riaz perform a combined attack taking and killing the Cerberus, making her take down both of them with ease. Riaz. Alright, one down, thanks for the help, whoever you are. Lasami revealed herself, shocking everyone minus Issei, who knew about her being the breaching dragon, with Claire asking. Claire. Masami, you are the Blue Dragon Emperor. Claire had heard rumors of a Blue Dragon Emperor along with Red and White, but she never saw one, since only a select few has seen them in action, let alone see them fight. Lasami. That is correct, Claire Wani-chan, and sorry for not telling you. Claire was speechless. She had no words or know exactly how to feel considering she was partially involved in Issei's abuse. Then again, the Blue Dragon Emperor has showed up, however she was not expecting it to be Masami of all people. Claire then looked towards Issei, who had a non-caring attitude as she thought. Claire. You knew. Claire was going to have a talk with Issei once this is all over, as Issei did not bother having a conversation with his sister. Lord X and Majin were equally surprised just as much as Asia was, however they saw Issei knew, and they were more surprised that Issei knew of this, as they thought. Majin. It seems like there is more than meets the eye. He is learning fast. Zalgo. Lord X. I shouldn't be surprised, but then he is Zalgo in the form of Issei. It is kind of hard to believe, but here we are. Issei, you are his reincarnation. Bakabiel finally got up from his seat seeing this, as he spoke. Bakabiel. So we have two Dragon Emperors, the Breaching Dragon Empress and the Welsh Dragon Emperor. This will get interesting. You two can come out now. That is when two entities decided to show up. One of them was immediately recognized by Lord X, as he growled furiously. He then spoke. Lord X. Sally Alt. Sally Alt looked exactly like her sister, Sally.exe, but she was much more mangled. Her torso was ripped, showing a huge bleeding cut, and she lacked the dressing Sally.exe wore. Another showed up, as Purin recognized her, and growled. Asia then asked. Asia? You know her? Huron cried in confirmation, as Asia had an idea. He was described to be a white-furred entity with green ears and green lower fur. It had a white fur coat, black eyes, and red pupils, and had a yellow bead on its forehead. Seeing this, Issei asked. Issei? Who are they? Do you know them? Lord X. The first one is Sally Alt. She is the twin sister of Sally. She is a rogue demon and has killed several innocent demons and other beings before, and she is my target. Imagine. Make that too. I would like to settle a score with her. Both of the demons looked at Issei. As he nodded, he knew that there is more to it, as Sally Alt laughed. Sally Alt. You boys think you can take me down? Try it, and I will make sure you meet the same fate as the others that did so. Sally grinned as the two demons glared at her. They then flew to her location and began fighting, leaving Issei and Asia alone. As they saw another entity, the entity then cried, signaling that it is a Pokemon, and since Purin growled seeing her, Issei then spoke. Issei. Are you Issei? The Pokemon cried in response, as Asia and Purin stepped up, as she spoke. Asia. That is correct, and Issei, leave him to us. Purin cried in agreement, seeing the determination in the two. Issei asked. Issei. Are you too sure of this? Asia nods, as she and Purin leave the area to face off against Issei, who was stronger than them. Using its telekinesis, it was able to keep Asia at bay. However, this was noticed by Issei, who responded by using his telekinesis to counter her, as he spoke. Issei. I am joining as well. Asia. But. Issei. Don't worry, I will only help. I would like to see how strong you have become. Asia smiles as Claire watches in jealousy as she pouts. She wanted to fight alongside Issei, but she couldn't as Issei and Asia are more than enough. Claire and the others decided to face off against Kakabiel. Issei used its eye-beam to keep Asia away, as Issei responded by a shadow wall, protecting her. Asia responded by using her firestorm ability, dealing damage to Issei, burning it significantly. Purin started to sing, as Asia spoke. Asia. Issei, cover your ears. Purin sings softly. Issei did so as Purin started to singing. As Issei started to feel dizzy and sleepy, Asia responded with another firestorm, which was a fire tornado that twirled around Issei. Issei was severely burnt as it tried to stand up. Issei used shadow hands to grab it and slam it to the ground. As it was completely dazed and burnt up, it tried to get up, seeing that it cannot win against two of them. Issei used a bright flash disorienting the duo. It then escaped into the light as Issei and Asia wondered where they were. Purin angrily tried to rush towards it as Issei spoke. Issei. No need, I have a feeling that this is not the last time we will be seeing him. Purin looked at him and huffed angrily as she went inside the pokeball that Asia wielded. Riaz was too busy fighting against Kakabiel as she was not able to land a strike on him. While Kiba and Zenobia were handling against Fried, as somebody exclaimed. Valper. It's done. Valper exclaimed as he was able to successfully merge the Excaliburs into one single sword. With that, Fried fell back and came by Valper's side as Valper spoke. Valper. Take the sword, Fried, and finish these fools. Valper commanded as Fried spoke. Fried. You got it, Valper. Fried maniacally charged towards Zenobia as she spoke. Zenobia. Stop Valper before he triggers an explosion. Kiba nodded as he was approaching Valper, eyes hellbent on killing the man responsible for so much pain in his life. He approached him with hate-filled eyes bent on taking the man down. Kiba. Do you remember me, Valper, those children you killed back then? Valper. Children, oh, you mean the Holy Sword Project? Of course I do, I managed to complete the research because of that only. Kiba gritted his teeth as this got the attention of Issei and Claire, along with Asia. Valper. But do not worry, their lives did not go in vain. I had made this out of the research. I always wanted to hold the Excalibur. Imagine when I found out that I was not worthy for wielding it, it kinda hurt me, so that is why I did all that to find whether there are other wielders, so hence the beginning of the project. Kiba. So why murder us? Valper. The research was getting us nowhere, so we had to do only what we could. We disposed you, since you meant no use to us. We had to dispose of you people. Everyone who heard Valper's words were horrified at his actions as well as reasoning. They found him to be nothing but a megalomaniac. Many were furious at this, especially Issei. Valper then pulls out a blue diamond-like crystal. Valper. But I am not done, you can have my research, we have already been able to mass-produce better quality of them. Those church fools, they excommunicated me yet they still use my research. Nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. Valper then throws that crystal to Kiba. He holds it while still reminiscing whether he should be alive or not, whether those kids had dreams like them, whether he was worthy to be even alive than those children or not. That was when the crystal started to glow as well as something inside his body. His soul showed many spirits that had joined him alongside him. Kiba. I always wondered whether I was the one to survive. Those children, those kids, whether they had dreams, whether they had hopes, they must have had their lives. Why am I the one to survive? Why me? Why not them? I never got my answers. Nobody gave me any. I was all alone. I never understood what I did wrong to make God forsake me and my comrades. I prayed for him and he never came. Why? Why? Dibba started to cry, breaking down in tears, as many wanted to comfort him. Claire and Asia had tears in their eyes, and so did most of the group. Issei clenched his fists in anger. That is when he noticed many more souls joined the fight. They all spoke in voices as they encouraged him. Hey, don't cry. You are not alone. We are with you. You live for us, our lives and past and present, live among you. We hold nothing against you, live on, we died so that you could live. Kibba looked around to see many others join him. He then saw a little girl pull his shirt, as Kibba looks on with tears in his eyes, as she looked at him with soulful eyes. Show him that you are not alone, don't take vengeance, but put him down. Another soul spoke as he looked with tears. His body started to glow, as one of the souls spoke. Accept us. He started to accept, as he felt a surge of powers. He accepted the container that Valper threw, two opposite sides, combining into one. He removed his sword, as Drag spoke. Drag. He did it. Issei. I don't understand. Issei spoke while looking at the gear, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. It's because that knight is perked up, my reincarnation, he has unlocked his balance breaker. Issei then saw the blade was different from the usual sword he wielded. As he saw that two opposing sides joined together, Zalgo had an idea on what happened, and he couldn't be any more happier. His old paranoid enemy, the god of the Bible, was dead. Kibba faced against Valper, who was shocked at the display, as Issei spoke. Issei. Kibba. Kibba turned to Issei and spoke. Issei. Give this man hell, get justice for your comrades. Issei gave a grin as Kibba was surprised as he spoke. Kibba. Ice. Claire. Kibba, I give you full authority, you can strike him down. Riaz wanted to contradict, but considering she was down thanks to her fighting against Kakabiel, as Kibba spoke. Kibba. Lady Claire. Kibba then spoke with a determined smile, as he spoke. Kibba. My comrades did not wish to take revenge, but I will strike you down. Valper fell behind due to fear, as he exclaimed. Valper. F. Fried. Fried jumped to his side, and spoke. Fried. Yes, old man Valper. Valper then grinned, as he spoke. Valper. You should have let yourself die. Test subject. Zenobia also joined by his side, as she spoke. Zenobia. Former knight of GREMORY, are we on the same page? Kibba. Indeed, but should you be worried, it is your sword after all. Zenobia. That monstrosity is no longer considered holy, so it's time I stop holding back. Zenobia began chanting to bring out her strongest weapon, Durandal. A portal then opened up beside her, and the sword was revealed out. The sword was described to be a large, uniquely shaped broadsword with a blue blade and a golden edge. The sword has a semicircular guard on the left side of the handle that extends to the bottom just above the pommel, with a small extension on the right side of the handle. Standing from the tip of the blade, the Durandal is slightly taller than Zenobia, surpassing the latter's height by just a few centimeters. Valper was shocked and horrified by this, as he knew that Durandal did not have a proper wielder because of its unstable nature. Valper. Is that Zenobia? You presume correctly, Valper. This is Durandal, a sword that surpasses Excalibur in all aspects, but even then this thing has a mind of its own, even I cannot control it after all. It is hard to control this damn thing. Zenobia had put back the Excalibur destruction back in order to bring out Durandal, as Fried started to fight against Kibba and Zenobia. Both swords constantly clashing with each other, struggling to get the upper hand up. Despite having four swords merge into one, Fried was struggling more, as he yelled. Fried. How the hell are the two demons like you able to get the upper hand over my holy sword? Zenobia. What you have there is just a broken holy sword, it's no match for my Durandal. Zenobia exclaimed in response, as the duo kept fighting against Fried, swords clashing against each other, eventually overpowering Fried and knocking him out. Kibba then turned his attention to Valper, as he spoke. Valper. That sword. It includes both demonic and holy magic. That is impossible, unless he is no. Before Valper could continue, a huge light spear penetrated him, killing him instantly. He was immediately disintegrated as Kakabiel spoke. Kakabiel. Oh Valper, you are one of the most smartest human. You managed to figure out a very big secret. Riaz? What are you talking about? Kakabiel started laughing as Claire asked. Claire. What do you mean, what secret? Zalgo stayed quiet as Kakabiel spoke. Kakabiel. Oh, it is simple. Along with the four Satans, God of the Bible died in the Great War. He was killed in an attempt to kill Zalgo. Bakabiel exposed the truth as many fell to despair. Zenobia fell to her knees, that is when Issei had a memory trigger. Issei. Aya. Beja and Claire. Issei. Piba. Issei. The trio rushed towards Issei as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. It's about time. Claire. What's going with Issei, Zalgo? Issei was groaning in pain as Bakabiel flinched hearing his name. The Demon King was alive as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. The fallen angel Bakabiel is triggering his memories. That phrase is what started to trigger his memories. Beja. That means. Greg. It means Zalgo and Issei's memories are being merged, with both of them remembering their past. After groaning for a while and holding his head, the pain eventually stopped. As he got up, Claire asked. Claire. Issei. Issei. I remember now, I remember everything. Clenches his fists. That bastard, he stabbed me in the back while I was leaving for my kingdom. He used the special cursed spear Gabold to kill me. I died a slow and painful death, but in retribution, I used my strongest curse on him, killing him on the inside, giving him the same fate I did. As I did, I watched what happened in my final moments. Him choking on his own blood, him puking out his blood. I also met the same fate as I died soon after. And was sent to the void. That is where I decided to reincarnate as a human boy. I lost all my memories until. Beja. My death at the church. Issei. Yeah. Issei mumbled as those close to him heard it. Briaz. What are you mumbling about, Issei? Issei ignored her, much to her anger. She could not do much, as she was on the ground thanks to Bakabiel ending the fight using multiple light spear. Zenobia. Then how are we getting the love from God? Bakabiel. It seems like Michael is doing a good job. For now, he is keeping the system alive. As long as it is, exorcisms and holy rituals will take place. But it is not as strong as it is before, and it is such a shame that it lost so much of its followers. Think about it, many followers of the church have abandoned their faith and given up. Briaz did not care about this. While she was shocked, she did not let it slow down. She then got up and commanded her peerage. Briaz. Okeno, use your lightning on him. Okeno did so, as Bakabiel blocked it with his wings, as he spoke. Bakabiel. And the daughter of Baraquiel, first the Blue Dragon Emperor, the Zalgo reincarnation, and now the this. Show me what you got, daughter of Baraquiel. Okeno. I am nothing like him. Okeno yelled in anger as Bakabiel threw several spears, damaging her and destroying her clothing. She fell on the ground groaning in pain. Zenobia responded by slashing him multiple times. However, Bakabiel generated a spear and blocked her every strike. Zenobia then attempted to go after his neck. However, Bakabiel sent her flying with one slash as she tried to push herself but was unable to do so. Beja was in shock. Now she knew why God or no one from the church helped her, as God was dead and the church never cared for her. They were no different from any other organization. Claire consoled her seeing someone like her younger sister like this. However, before anyone could say anything, the barrier shattered, pushing many of the Citri peerage members to the ground. You know, you shouldn't have said that. Bakabiel. The group turned their attention to a being who was clad in white armor. Issei and Masami went on alert as Dreg spoke. Dreg. Partner, that's the White Dragon Emperor. Issei. Well, I will be damned. He rushed towards Bakabiel. However, Bakabiel expected this and spoke softly. Bakabiel. It's time, I don't hold back. Issei became alerted as he tried to stop him, but he was late. Bakabiel grinned and grabbed his hand and slammed it to the ground. Bakabiel. Surprised. Issei. What are you talking about? Bakabiel. Well, all this while, I have been training, hiding my true nature. Well, my superior Azazel was too focused on sacred gears. I have been training, now it's time, I don't hold back. What are you on about? Bakabiel. Simple, full release. Bakabiel released his true power, releasing his sixth pair of wings as it started to glow a much darker color as Rainer spoke while watching in horror. Rainer. Its power is almost Satan class. He is too strong. Claire. As much as I hate to say it, his power is almost strong as Seraphol. I cannot beat him. Bakabiel. That's correct, every single day I have been training to one day surpass him, and I have achieved it a long time ago. And do you want to know why? Issei. Do enlighten us. Bakabiel. So that I can take the title and show that fallen angels are the most superior race, and today is the day I shall show it, by forcing the Great War once again. This will force the supernatural world to see that the fallen angels are the most superior race. I will be the new Governor General, taking Azazel's place and leading the fallen angels into a new era for the fallen. So then who is going to fight me? Bakabiel exclaimed as Issei clenched his fist. That is when the demons returned, as Majin spoke. Majin. Before you ask, Sally Alt fled the scene. She was badly wounded, however. Lord X. She had it coming. Say, why is Cock Diesel over here looking different? Bakabiel glared at the demon for the nickname as Lord X turned to him and used the nickname as Issei spoke. Issei. He decided to not hold back. Turns to the white dragon say I have a proposal. What do you want? Issei. Let's work together to take him down, we both have the same goals, so we might as well take this warmonger down. Fine, just this once. Another voice spoke and this time it was from the divine dividing. 2. Are you sure about this? I am Albion, only this once we are working together, we are destined rivals, and that's what we will do. Albion sighs as he speaks. Albion. Very well, Volley. Greg. Yo. Albion, it's been a while. Albion. We can chat later, for now let's deal with this crow. Greg. Very well. Issei then turned to Bakabiel and spoke. Issei. You will be facing the both of us, is that fine with you? Bakabiel chuckled as he spoke. Bakabiel. The Dragon Emperors working together, that's a first, well then come at me, Red Dragon Emperor and White Dragon Emperor. Issei. Good then, let's take it to a place where nobody will get hurt. Scene change. Unnamed location, 7:30 p.m. Issei and Volley were standing on one side, with Bakabiel standing on the other. Volley. Do you have balance breaker? Issei. I doubt I need it. Volley. And here I thought I was overconfident. Bakabiel. So who is gonna go first? Volley rushed towards him, not making the same mistake again, he had his divine dividing call out. Divide. 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 Bakabiel felt his power drained out as he fell to his knees. Volley gave a roundhouse kick as Bakabiel grabbed him and sent him flying. Issei joined in and used pyrokinesis to burn him. Issei. Fire barrage. Issei unleashed several fire attacks towards Bakabiel as he used his wings to block him. Seeing this, Volley recovered and made his divine dividing call out. Divide. 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 Bakabiel once again felt his power drain, taking some fire damage, as Volley thought. Volley. He is not using his boosted gear. He is not overconfident, he knows that he can beat him. Just how strong are you, Issei? Issei then used telekinesis to lift him up in the air, seeing that Bakabiel used a light ball to disorient Issei and Volley, giving him a severe gut punch, sending him flying. Issei used his dragon wings to stabilize himself. Issei. Heads up Volley. Sonic boom. Issei threw a condensed sonic grenade towards Bakabiel, as Volley covered his ears. Bakabiel did so, but was slightly slower, and felt the hearing of the grenade. Bakabiel. Ai. Make it stop. Issei. Firestorm. Issei unleashed his own version of Firestorm, burning onto Bakabiel, as Bakabiel dodged and blitzed through despite the sound. He fired several light spears towards Issei and Volley, as Volley activated. Volley. Half dimension. The spears started to shrink and reduce its speed, as Issei unleashed telekinesis to smash it to the ground, breaking them. Issei. Shadow Blade. Issei activated a Shadow Blade as he rushed towards Bakabiel, who activated his spear to defend. Shadow clashed with light, as Volley constantly used. Divide. 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 Volley kept dividing as he weakened Bakabiel, making him stagger, allowing Issei to strike him, disarming him, making him drop the spear, as Volley unleashed a demonic blast towards Bakabiel, as he took the full brunt of the blast. Bakabiel was on his knees, but he had gotten up. He knew that he could win against the combined might of two Dragon Emperors at the same time. Bakabiel. I see. Bakabiel thought to himself, he was the Angel of Stars, and perhaps the vision he saw was his death. His death will be brought on by the Red and White Dragon Emperors. He tried preventing that by killing any sacred gear users in secret, so that he could prevent it, but then again, fate does have a twisted way of happening itself. He also saw another vision, a vision where all races are working together in harmony, against a singular threat, a threat strong enough to wipe out the whole world. Such a vision repulsed him to no end. Bakabiel got up ready to fight till the very end. There was no way he could beat Issei and Volley at the same time, since Volley could divide his power whenever he wants, and Issei was not even trying to fight. He had not revealed his boosted gear, and in addition, he seems to be holding back. Issei activated his boosted gear, and spoke. Issei. Balance break. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei entered into his balance breaker state, as it was completely red in color, like his demonic balance breaker, but it had green gems and a reddish plate. Volley. So you have decided to enter into your balance breaker state, huh, rival? Issei. Yeah, I wanted to end this, so shall we? Volley. Thought you'd never ask. The dragons started to unleash their strongest attack. Bakabiel tried to escape, but Volley was not having that. Divide. 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 Bali. I am almost at my limit. Bali gritted his teeth underneath the stress as Issei spoke in concern. Issei, you okay? Bali. I am fine. Let's end this. Issei. You bet. Boost. 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 Issei. Chainmail disintegration. Issei unleashed a huge greenish-red beam towards Kakabiel, who was heavily weakened by the divides, as he watched a blast moving towards him, consuming him completely, as he thought. Kakabiel. It seems like this was my fate to begin with. Well, it was fun while it lasted. I have lived a long life, and if my vision was true, then these two would usher in a new era of peace, with the three dragons living in harmony, one day, where there is no fighting and they live in peace. Kakabiel got completely disintegrated as Bali then spoke. Bali. Well, it seems like you are much stronger, rival. Issei. Yeah. Hey, what do you think? When should we fight? Bali. Soon, rival, soon. Bali then flew off into the night sky, leaving Issei alone, who returned back to the place where the others are waiting for him. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.